Well, we left our homes up in Bristol Bay for the waters of Miami shore. With a hippo at the helm and our severance pay, we fly the pirate flag once more. Pirate radio with the ship and crew, we get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Well, the ship is a wreck, shit stains the deck as Michael hollers fellas make more. And Billy is a worry that he's got the scurvy, cause Chris ate all the limes in store. Pirate radio with the ship and crew, we get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Now Roy is a chum when he's on the rum, he's the glue when we spring a leak. And Stu is a mess, he does less and less, and Greg sounded worse each week. Pirate radio with the ship and crew, we get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Someone yelled ahoy, who the hell's cabin boy? Somebody named Tony, who knows? Once we got the skip, well, Amin jumped ship, cause he knew we would sail to gold. Pirate radio with the ship and crew, we get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do for the pirate radio.
Dan, do you have the Twitter app, or do you just always use Safari?
Here, you mean? Or
on your phone?
Here, it's bothering you that much?
We get notifications every time you do it.
You do?
What do you mean?
I get notifications on my phone. Anyone that has access to the @Batard Show account on their Twitter gets a notification, and on top of that, I get an email because the email's tethered to me.
I'll download it. That's fine. I'll download it.
I use Echo Phone.
God.
I was doing it to try. I was doing. The reason I wasn't downloading is because I was trying to be in it less. That's why.
I can assure you, as someone that gets the notifications, you are not.
What was that? Why'd you make that noise after I said Echo Phone?
Echo
we're
Phone.
old.
It's just like,
that was like an original iPod Touch app.
How do you post your post your photos via Wi-Frog?
It does take me a few minutes.
Hang on, I'll send you directions as to how to download the app to your GeoCities email.
I mean, I do have the Twitter app as well. What happens is Echo Phone is just on my first page, and I don't want to scroll over to page 3. And so it's easier.
That's the part I feel bad about for Mike, is he's getting those notifications at 3 in the morning.
Yeah. I understand why you're going through Safari, because I think you told me long ago you deleted the app in an effort to be on it less. And every time I get a notification, I'm like, wow, he's succumbed to this horrible addiction.
Well, and every time I sign on, and it's funny that I haven't learned this before now, every time I sign on, I know Mike's watching me. Mike knows something about me every time.
Big brother.
But 3 in the morning, what's the addiction? Cocaine? What are you doing?
His sleep patterns are all off.
I'm under stress, you guys.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
It's as if you haven't been next to me for 24 months.
Know.
Like, what do you think is happening with me? When you think he's up at 3 o'clock in the morning, do you really think to yourself, it must be the cocaine?
Nah, well, occasionally I do. You're just a weird creature, though. With or without stress, you've always been up at, like, weird hours. You keep weird hours,
No, I've
man.
always been someone who goes to sleep late. Now I'm somebody who occasionally falls asleep at 9 p.m. and just can't stay up beyond 9 p.m. Where, like, my body just shuts down, and next thing you know, I'm sleeping from 9 to 2, and that's it. That's all the sleep I'm getting.
You don't go back to sleep? Like, you don't read an hour?
Well, no, what I'm doing is work-related stuff. What I'm doing from 2 to 5 is the area in our schedule that we have to get stuff done that Mike is doing on off days. And we're talking right now without the shipping container because we're having technical difficulties because there are all sorts of complications involved in trying to do this show the way we used to do it without the infrastructure we had before.
I want to say you didn't ask for any of this, but you asked for all of this.
Yeah.
I mean,
you asked for all of it. What's funny about today's issues, because I actually think it's on the internet service provider, and we're just sort of at their mercy. But today marks the first day I decided to tell our on-site engineer, Bob in the miner's helmet, hey, don't worry about coming in today. Everything seems to be working all right. Yeah. So what happens? Inevitably, the internet is down, and I have no connectivity to the remote people. And now our show is on unsettled ground, but we can offline record, so this local hour is just confined to the 4 people in this studio, Dan, Stu, myself, and Chris Whittingham.
And where are we with Lefko and Greg Cote and McGill and doing the show the way we normally do the show?
Yeah, and Amin as well. We have no internet.
Yeah.
So
they
whenever
can't
we
join us.
Whenever
right.
we have
Yeah.
internet, will be them joining us.
Right. I could get
Right.
them over the phone, but the jolly men of the shipping container, they won't. I can get them on the phone. I think the phones are
Is
working.
Bob rushing in?
Yeah, the phones are working. Bob is sort of in a holding pattern because I don't really know if Bob can help right now. I'm waiting for an answer on whether or not this is on us or our ISP.
How would Bob not be able to help? Wouldn't he be able to get that answer?
If Bob can't help, does that mean? No one can help. Bob right now is if something happens to Bob, we have no way to be the #1 podcast in sports.
That's not true. I mean,
We can't do it this way.
Bob is here because I can't do the Bob shit when I'm also content creating. But we're all in a group chat right now. We're all just waiting for the same answer. Is
Right.
it something on our end that we can fix on site?
Our show is buffering, is what you're basically.
No, we're
saying.
not buffering.
No, we're just not working.
Yeah, you have to
Right.
be connected to the internet to buffer, I think. Look, Bob is not a computer guy, okay?
Well,
Bob,
what is he? You put him on the cover of Forbes.
Bob is the guy who gets us up and running, and part of that, one of the parts to that, is the computer guy. He's he is a one-stop shopping mall.
He's Jose Akendo?
I understand Bob is just known as the fixer.
An 80s utility.
I was thinking, there's
couldn't
no
go-
one, only me and you.
How could you not go a more recent utility man than 86 Mets?
Go ahead. Well, I think it was 86 Cardinals with Okenda, but go ahead. Give me the updated utility man.
We need to stop here for a moment. I go old as well. I'd go someone like Mike Mordecai. I'd go mid-90s Marlins.
That's a good one.
So, what about Bob gives off computer whiz to you exactly? Is it the miner's helmet? Because look, Bob is an old school radio engineer. When he knows his way around a computer, like he connected some of our printers, but he's got a Bell South email handle and he types with 2 index fingers. He's not our IT guy.
Fair point.
Okay, no, but here's the part that's not fair about it. All right, that Mike might think that's clever and might think everyone's guffawing. What idiots these guys are! They don't know anything. But the question began with 3 a.m. Why are you up at 3 a.m.? And I legitimately got a call from Mike Ryan, a text rather, from Mike Ryan the other day, in which, because I'm just scanning through things so quickly, I thought that our other engineer, Alex, who's been wandering around here, I read his text so quickly that I legitimately thought Mike was telling me that he was going to become our guest booker, that our engineer was going to be the guy who was booking guests for us, because everyone around here right now is doing about 10 jobs they don't need to be doing.
Our engineer is not our guest booker. He was just putting a couple of names on our radar because we need guests, but without internet, guests are pointless. Guys,
What names did he put on the radar, just out of curiosity?
what are you doing?
I'm just wondering why the engineer is suggesting guests to us.
No,
That's all.
well, to call him an engineer is like slightly dismissive
Sorry.
because he's our operations manager.
Oh, for the
Okay.
love of God.
This is top level stuff. He has a
I don't
lot
know
of
who's who,
experience
Mike,
and an
I'm sorry.
impressive resume. So if he hears,
Now
it's
is
good
Bob,
producing
is
out of
Bob
him.
the engineer now insulted because you've dared to compare him to Alex, who's not an engineer?
Well, Bob's the engineer and Alex is the operations manager.
Bob's also the IT guy, and Alex is
De
also the
facto.
guest booker.
Yeah, Alex is not the guest booker. Alex is. And I understand you're doing a lot of work, and sometimes that work, I mean, requires you like a Dragonfly Jones tweet. Apparently, I'm not really sure what we're doing.
No,
at 4
that's
a.m.
Juju. That's not me.
Is either interested in being general sales manager?
I actually have an interesting candidate in mind for that.
So do I.
People have been reaching out. a
Same
lot.
here. Yeah.
And I'm trying to navigate not being rude because they look at, oh wow, that's perennially a top 3 sports podcast in America. Depending on the given weekday, it's #1 in the nation, and they assume we have our shit together. Meanwhile, I'm talking to you from a studio that has no internet presently. And I have no answers as to whether or not it's our ISP or if it's an on-site solution. So, I got a text. Sorry.
Put it on the poll. I was going to say Guillermo, but we can't get a hold of him. So, Whittingham, put it on the poll. Do you know what an ISP is at Levitard Show? Yes or no? I wanted to talk about what happened with LeBron yesterday. I don't know how much you've seen, Stugotz, because you've been engulfed in some stuff. So, do you know what I'm talking about when I say LeBron James, who has dominated the marketplace in our world, and I mean in Miami for 4 years, but our world of sports, where it's been fascinating, actually, Stugotz, to sit right in the middle as it's happening of some of the stuff that I told you that happened with Jordan that we forget because he did his losing on the front end and then spent 10 years erasing that losing.
Sure.
And it wasn't real losing. He was still great, but he'd get to the second round and there'd be people questioning him. He's not strong enough. You can't win that way. Ball hog, all the stuff. The stuff that was stupid about Michael Jordan, instead of enjoying the first part of, wow, this is the best I've ever seen, and then it becomes, oh, no, this is the best I've ever seen, and nothing is able to attack that, not even LeBron James, who is 70 pounds heavier and does all the same things that Michael Jordan did because they question winner, winner, winner. Who's going to beat him now? Now, look at what's in front of you and look at how
the Clippers.
The Lakers have gotten better, and Marc Gasol is on their team. Whether you think he's spent or not, he's now doing with the Lakers the same thing he did here, where he gets here, and it's like the centers have to be Joel Anthony and Eric Dampier, and it starts sparse, and then he builds the economy around himself. So he adds Anthony Davis, and he adds all these little pieces here and there, and in 2 years, when he's 38, because his career has been properly managed by himself, his body, the people around him, the people who spend $1 million keeping that body healthy a year, because he does all that, it's looking like he's going to win throughout his late 30s. Is it not, now that the numbers on what athletes can be when they take care of their bodies is different, changed by science and Tom Brady?
I'd say the only thing that could get in his way is the Clippers or Giannis. But, yes, it does appear like LeBron's going to tack on some more titles here into his late 30s and early 40s, and that's all. I've been marveling at LeBron lately, and maybe a newfound respect for him, that he has not missed a game this year. He is 20 years into this, and he still cares about a game on a Tuesday night. Like it's the NBA Finals. Like he's yelling at referees. He's giving max effort, and I'm amazed by that he loves basketball that much, that a game against the Atlanta Hawks last night means that much to him. It just does. It's incredible, man.
Whittingham, would you do me the favor, please, of getting Amin on an old-fashioned phone line, as Mike has had to leave the studio because he's got to handle some stuff. But I want to talk to him because I don't think that Stugotz, and I understand this may have happened to a lot of you, who don't have going on in their lives what Stugotz has going on in his life, but the standings are a bit upside down at the moment. So when you say maybe Giannis has done next to nothing this year to suggest that Bucks team, and it's not that he doesn't look great, but that Bucks team is what it was last year when it was eliminated in the second round. And so there are, whatever the challengers are, and whether you believe it's Utah or Philadelphia through 20 games, because that's what the top of the standings looks like, the Lakers are better than they were last year, and I don't know we can say that about anybody else except maybe the Sixers in terms of what the top bracket is. No, the Nets are the worst defense in the league, Stugotz. Like they'll win a bunch of games during the regular season, but there's simply no way. Even as the Nets are the best offense in the league and the best offense ever, the way they're pacing.
Well, I'm agreeing with you because I'm saying maybe the Clippers, maybe Giannis, just because he's so talented. The big addition, Gasol and Schroeder. I mean, and you're right, they're better than they were last year, and I fully expect the Lakers to win a title this year. But if you're asking me who can get in the way, and I know your original question is what happened last night and a fan getting ejected, but who can get in the way, I would say the Clippers, perhaps, maybe Durant, maybe Giannis. Those are the only three.
Okay, and that's why I wanted to bring in Amin Elhassan, who would have been joining us by internet, but we're just bringing him in by phone line because we wanted to do this local hour with him and wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Heat, because last night they had their full squad, and eventually, when we talk about LeBron's body, Stugotz, one of the things I think of is Goran Dragic from a war-torn hell who has toughed his way through everything to get to the All-Star game in that particular sport. As an undersized, tough dude, that dude's body is clearly breaking and has been for 2 or 3 years now because of the strain of all of that.
Yeah.
And he takes care of himself, and he's unbelievably tough, and he cares. But Goran Dragic is younger than LeBron, is he not?
I believe so, yeah. I'm checking right now.
By a good deal.
Okay, so, I mean, we're just talking about the idea that LeBron in his late 30s is still a body machine that doesn't have a whole lot of precedent.
Dragic is 34, by the way.
Yeah, no, I mean, LeBron, I think that's probably the thing that separates him from pretty much every single player who has ever played this game. You want to talk about the difference between the greats and him? He never gets hurt. He's got two weaknesses that I think I've identified. He rolls his ankles sometimes, never misses a game because of it. He ties them up tighter retapes and gets out there. And the other thing is he gets cramps. He gets cramps from time to time. Other than that, the guy's had absolutely no muscular or skeletal issues in his career. In a career that is, 18 years deep, where he plays a lot of minutes since the very first day he stepped on the court, where he rarely takes games off, where he plays deep into the playoffs, where he plays for USA Basketball. Think about how much mileage this man has compared to any other player in NBA history, and then compare it to his injury history. It just isn't natural. It's the most unique thing about him, I would say.
It is insane. He said after the game the other night, Amin, that he doesn't get tired, and I believed him. Do you?
I mean, I think no. I would say go back to that Cleveland team in 2007. He got tired.
The 55th big game is this weekend. 55. A game this big deserves a big prize, not just some trophy. To finish off the football season, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is giving all players a no-brainer of an offer. To celebrate football's finale, DraftKings Sportsbook is doubling your money if a touchdown is scored in the big game. That's right. All it takes is for one touchdown to be scored Sunday night, and boom, your money is doubled. Sounds like a no-brainer. As if this game wasn't enough reason to party, with double the cash, you'll be celebrating until next season. Don't forget about DraftKings Big Game Prediction Challenge, with up to $55 million in total prizes up for grabs and instant prizes for everyone who enters the contest. DraftKings has paid out over $7 billion to its players since 2012, so they know a thing or two about big paydays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code Dan to get a shot at doubling your money if a touchdown is scored in Sunday's game. That's promo code Dan to get a shot at doubling your money during Sunday night's season finale only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Colorado only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/prediction-challenge-DFS for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT, or in Colorado, 1-800-522-4700.
So you may ask yourself, well, that was an odd way to use Amin, just to bring him in and ask him two questions and then laugh about LeBron's amazing body and then he's gone. And it's just part of our technical difficulties where things are falling apart around here in the first week of February. We rattle and clang, and it really does feel every day like the nuts and bolts are loose on the tire of a jalopy, like the car. And they're just nuts and springs and sprockets, landing on the sidewalk because the car is moving a little unstably.
It was all exciting. It was fun in January, but I'm starting to get nervous. I got to be honest.
Yes, January, there was drinking at 9 a.m. on the second day. Freedom, and now the Pirates are tired. It's one of those sick days at sea. The waters are choppy. It's cloudy and unpleasant out, and we all smell like fish. And Amin is one of the pirates on the pirate ship. Amin said, if you're going to be a pirate, what was the quote that was so great that I was yelling at you about last time? Because we ended the first segment sloppily because we're having technical difficulties, but I wasn't talking to Amin because there's stuff going on with the Heat and basketball that I do want to talk to him about. We might have lost the shipping container for the entire show. We will let you know. We're trying to get the internet working. Right now we're at the mercy of Atlantic Broadband. If you live on the beach, you know that is a mercy that you never want to be at. Better to be in Art Briles' hell than being at the mercy of Atlantic Broadband. But, you come back in here, and I'm just curious because I want to talk about some other things in basketball. But in the middle of what you were saying in the last segment, I believe you tried talking about the skeleton to call injuries. You used an adverb of some sort or an adjective using the word skeletal incorrectly. Do you remember what you did there?
I didn't use it incorrectly. I said his musculature and his skeleton, like the two different things, right?
No, that's not what you said. You said skeleture. You said his. I think you said.
Is there something wrong with that?
His musculature and his skeleture, and I think it's his skeletal structure. I think you did a Chris Cote. I think you did a merging of words there. But when you say his body has no precedent, I want to get into what happened last night with this fan because I thought that was interesting from a number of different angles, and we can have some funny with it as well. But the question we were bringing you on to answer is is LeBron going to spend his late 30s doing what Jordan did, where we're going to look back at what we did to him through 2 and 3 championships, and we're going to be like, man, we shouldn't have been doubting that dude. He got to 6 or he got to 7.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, look, Dan, there was a point in the early 90s or like 89, 90 where people were saying Michael Jordan is the best player in the league and he might be the best player of all time. And there were all these people who said, what? This guy who can't get out of the Eastern Conference? This guy who's a ball hog, a me-first guy? I mean, it's funny. You can go back and watch the NBA on NBC intros where Marv Albert asks, will Michael Jordan ever join the Pantheon, or will he be like O.J. Simpson and Bob Lanier? And he starts naming all the Ernie Banks, Mr. Chicago, but never Mr. Cub, never been to a World
Hold on a
Series.
second.
What is this voice?
I mean, hold on.
mean-
No, well, it's Amin's.
Is it Harry
Yeah, it's
Carey?
Amin's Marv Albert, but I need you to do it all over again because it had too many stumbles in it. So if you want another crack at Marv Albert being judgy 80s, 90s broadcaster, standing from on high, questioning Michael Jordan in the same way Francesa questioned those 80s Hurricanes. Go ahead, do Marv Albert, because that was the Marv Albert. It means Marv Albert, correct?
Yes. That is Marv Albert, yes.
All right, you want to welcome people into the NBA. What is it? The NBA on NBC. Go ahead.
Yes.
Champion, the metric by which we judge all athletes. However, some of our greats have never played at the highest stage. Mr. Cub, 3-time MVP, but never played in October. O.J. Simpson rushed for 2,000 yards, but never played in a Super Bowl. And Michael Jordan, some say he's the greatest of all time, while detractors point out his lack of playoff success. He tries to change that today on NBC.
Yes!
Oh, wow. With the music.
Yes, no, but I want you. No, wait, Chris. I want you to put on the front and the back end of that. John Tesh gave us the rights to that music in perpetuity. So you should absolutely splice that in so it sounds like we planned it all. I mean, that was amazing. I salute you for being the first person ever to use the word detractors, not off a script. Like, no one speaks like that. No one says detractors unless they're writing an essay for television.
I've watched that video too many times, Dan.
It's a pretty good Marv. It's not, but we'll take it. Like today, where nothing's working, you worked. I mean, like,
well, it's not just that I love that he tried it. His point stands.
Yes.
Though. We did this to Michael Jordan, and I was talking before you came on. I mean, about the thing with Michael Jordan is he gave us 10 years of winning to erase all of that, so we could just forget it. Here with LeBron, it's been herky jerky, and I'm sure there are many people listening. Oh, Dan, what are you doing, giving LeBron 2 or 3 more championships? But the conversation we were having is the Lakers are better this year. I mean, who else can you say that about? Philadelphia in the top tier. You could say it about Philadelphia. Who else can you say it about?
I think Milwaukee is better, and I think they're trying new things. I know their record isn't as stellar as we've been accustomed to seeing the last 2 years, but I think they've addressed their depth. They've gotten a lot better, and they're trying different things. If you watch the Bucks play, they're trying stuff where Giannis isn't on the ball, where he's on the baseline and Drew Holiday is running high pick and roll with either Lopez or Chris Middleton. And I think the additions that they had of DJ Augustine as a backup point guard, as Bobby Portis as a backup big, like that makes them deeper and better than they've been the last couple of years. But it's right now, it's just not looking very fluid. But you guys are right. You're not wrong. The Lakers are the clear favorite, and if they lose, it would be something pretty miraculous that would happen.
I mean, are the Clippers better?
I'm not well. I guess chemistry is the difference, right? They seem to be in a much more harmonious chemistry place than they were a year ago. I would say talent-wise, top to bottom, they're not as talented as they were a year ago, but maybe this year the pieces fit a little better. Maybe Ty Lue has everyone bought in, and sometimes that's all the difference you need.
What about Stugotz's Knicks? He's been dying to talk to you about his Knicks and the change. He's already doing 8 seed, and we got to get Mike Ryan in here, stop wrestling engineers to the ground because he's got to start worrying about his Heat losing at home to Charlotte.
Oof, yeah, that was a tough one for the Heat yesterday because they should have won that game. They're up 10 with about 3 minutes to go, and then the shot selection just gets wonky, and they couldn't stop Malik Monk on the other end. That last three-pointer that Malik Monk hit to tie it up, Bam Adebayo, I don't know what he was thinking. Was he worried about the guy driving past him and laying it up? So what? Who cares? You got to jump there. And then Jimmy Butler on the other end, I know he's got a reputation for being what I call Mr. October and kind of a closer and all, but the shot selection just wasn't what they needed at the time. And those are kind of the problem with the Heat is that's a loss. They say, shucks, we shouldn't let that one get away and kind of move on. But when you're as bad as they've been early on because of all the injuries, losses like that mount up. It's like, no, we need this win in a way that we probably wouldn't have a year ago.
He asked about my Knicks.
Oh, my fault. Yeah, the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks are the Knicks. The good news is they're defending. They're defending at a very high level. They're a top 5 defense in this league. And, Tom Thibodeau obviously deserves a lot of credit for that because it's a lot of the same guys that were here last year. Usually when you look at a defensive jump, it's because we went out and got Kevin Garnett or someone like that to kind of change things up. And in this case, it's just a coaching staff thing. But their offense is terrible, Stugotz. And R.J. Barrett, man, bless his heart. I like him. He plays hard. But, man, there are times that he just doesn't seem very good. I don't know how else to put it.
Mike, you're worried about your Heat, are you not?
Yeah, last night was super concerning. This was supposed to be the start of the run. Okay, schedule lightens up, and you finally have your full team for the first time since like the 3rd game of the season. They should have covered easily. I had action on that game, no doubt, but they end up losing, and it's just, I mean, when I watch them, even when they're not at full strength, they assume they have this gear. I don't know if it's because they're resting on their laurels because they made an NBA Finals.
You sound sad. You sound sad and scared. You sound sad and scared.
They seem to think that they have this gear that I don't think they have. They're trying to coast to wins the way that the big 3 used to.
Look, Amin has been great on this subject over the course of 5 years in terms of what his basketball knowledge is for real, in that we keep overlooking over the last 5 years what happens to this team every time that Goran Dragic is something less than Goran Dragic. Like, I don't know why we keep doing that as if he doesn't matter. As if, I mean, he wouldn't have affected.
A huge part of the team.
I just don't get why we do that to him.
I mean, I think Mike does that to him. And it started years ago. But, Dan, you're right. When Goran isn't 100%, it's very obvious in the way he plays, and it's very obvious in the way the team plays. And a game like last night, we're down the stretch. You really needed someone to kind of calm everything down. And while you love Jimmy's aggression and his ability to go get one, I don't like it when Jimmy Butler brings the ball up the floor and then kind of just isos his way. It really harkened back to Mike. You remember a couple of years ago when I was saying when they were doing that with Dwayne Wade before he left. And I said, that's not how you're not going to win games like that every night. Just give it to him and get out of the way. It just isn't right in terms of his talent level at this current period and what the defenses are expecting. They need to have a lot more kind of involvement of other people and get Jimmy on the run somewhere, catching it on the move, off ball. And so last night was an example that I think if Goran were healthy and were playing, and I don't think he's healthy, that's why he wasn't out there, but if he were healthy and you're playing, you give it to him. You run something, and then you catch Jimmy on the wing where he can attack.
No, Mike is getting mad at you. Mike is getting mad at you because wait, Goran was 1 for 9 last night.
Okay, but he's not Steph Curry. If he puts up a 1 for 9, we don't have to automatically assume, what's wrong with him? He wasn't playing because of the pandemic protocol, not because of some injury. Now, granted, he's got to be banged up because of the quick turnaround, but I don't think it's forcing the 1 for 9. Occasionally, Goran Dragic is going to give you a 1 for 9.
He hasn't. They haven't had
Mike, I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't say Goran's got to take the last shot. I'm not talking about. I don't give it 1 for 100. I'm just saying you need someone out there to run an offensive set so that it's not Jimmy versus the world.
But I think Mike is saying that Goran has been out there. He's been fine. In fact, I'm looking at the game logs right now. He's actually played well. The team just hasn't been healthy.
Yeah, Goran's been out there more than the other people. Like, if we're going to point to a player not being there, you can point to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler did not talk to the media last night. Jimmy Butler threw up one of those awful ISO 3-pointers to end a game. That's one of Spo's late-game execution calling cards. It is what it is at that point. They had their full arsenal of weapons last night, and they blew a 10-point lead with 3 minutes left against the Charlotte Hornets. They are not the same team presently. We assume they have this other gear, but they haven't tapped into it. The defensive intensity is simply not there. There's bad decisions being made. There isn't ball movement happening late in game. Like I said, in watching them, they kind of feel like they think they can hero ball their way to victories, and that's not what got them to the dance.
But you're asking me about gears, though, Mike, and what I am doing is the same thing you're doing, which is Well, the gear is when everyone is healthy, they'll look a little more like they looked last year. But when you're looking for covers on these games, and I'm watching them play against Sacramento and barely eke out something in a game they needed, they're at home. Sacramento has to come to them. You've got to win that game. They're barely eking it out with their full complement, except Goran is out in that game. He sat out with some strained something or another, and then he plays in this one, and he's 1 for 9 against Charlotte in a game at home that you have to have as you get out of the bottom of the standings because you're one of the most disappointing teams in the league. The gear I'm expecting from them is health. And what I'm telling you is Goran is part of that health. Goran banged up is part of that health. Them as their strongest version of themselves from last year. Goran's got to be right. And at this age with that body, it's hard to ask him to always be right.
I don't know what it is we're doing right now with Goran Dragic. He's not the problem. He had a bad game. Let's stop saying he's
I'm talking
injured.
about the last 2 games, Mike.
But what the issue here is that Goran succeeds when the team has ball movement and puts him in the right positions, and he's chucking up that top of the key three-pointer. It's just ISO. Right now, they're not doing the things that their identity was built on when they were successful last year. It's plain as day. It's painful to watch. They're not limiting turnovers. They're giving teams pick sixes the other way constantly. I think that's what the problem here is they think they're better than they actually are.
I'll tell you the problem. The problem is, and you're not giving them any credit, the Charlotte Hornets. That team for the next 10 years, I am telling you right now, and I know Amin, okay, basketball expert's going to agree with me, Michael Jordan has done a great job. Because LaMelo Ball, I am telling you, that kid is a star. He's a star now, and he's going to be a star for the next 20 years.
He wasn't good last night. He was just okay last night.
He started last night, but that kid is good. Zeller's playing good. Hayward's good. P.J. Washington is solid.
He started last night is what your counter was on.
Well, he's been coming off the bench. Yeah. LaMelo Ball's been playing so good off the bench, he finally got a start, and I think he's there to stay.
Because Rozier was hurt.
And Malik Monk finally paying dividends. How about that, Amin? The Hornets are a good, solid team.
Oh, come on.
Amin?
I like how Stugotz says Michael Jordan has done a great job.
He's been terrible for 15 years. LaMelo Ball might be good. Michael Jordan has done a great job. Also, Michael Jordan might be in bed with hedge fund guys.
Yeah, he might. But if LaMelo Ball is great, then Jordan, great job, right? That's the way it works.
In the Stugotz analysis, It does. You went right into your mode. It's the first time I've seen you in about 10 days.
We're talking gears.
Gears, and we're talking not just gears. We're talking about, are the Heat lazy, complacent? Did it go to their heads? They're being sloppy with the ball. Pick sixes. Their fame went to their heads. They're intoxicated. It's not about basketball. We're not actually analyzing the basketball. It's Mike saying they don't have a gear.
I don't know what you're doing. I am actually analyzing the game. I'm giving explanations.
You're giving
why they're
all
struggling.
intangibles.
No, that's not an intangible. Turnovers is not an intangible. That is tangible as shit.
No, you're assigning the turnovers to they're being they're being more reckless because they care less.
Well, they're number one, they're probably having more turnovers because the likes of Gabe Vincent are out there and they have a rotation of 8 guys and none of them were good. The problem with last night and why I reacted so poorly to last night is they had everybody. They were doing the same G League stuff that the replacement level players were doing.
And they ran into a juggernaut.
Michael Jordan is doing a great job. I don't think there's a funnier name comedically that Mike could have slapped me in the face with like a fish than Gabe Vincent. It renders all of our previous. Is he the new Solomon Hill? What just happened there? Where it rendered all of the first 20 games irrelevant. All the analysis. It doesn't matter whether it's Goran Dragic or they're lackadaisical. Wait a minute. Why is Gabe Vincent playing for them? It's a funny name comedically. Gabe Vincent can't put it on the poll, please, Whittingham. Can a guy named Gabe Vincent ever be really good at basketball?
I don't think Gabe played last night. It was Max Struss.
Yeah, we finally didn't have to rely on Gabe Vincent. I'm worried because when the team has been fully healthy, they don't look good. You can understand why they're dropping games to the Nets when they're counting on big minutes from Gabe Vincent. I'm not getting mad at that, but holy shit, the team that made it to the NBA Finals can hold a 10-point lead against the Charlotte Hornets with 3 minutes left?
But, Mike, you say when they haven't been playing well when they're fully healthy. How many? You can count on one hand the number of times they've been fully healthy this year.
Yeah, 4.
Like I'm saying, last night, yes, they made mistakes down the stretch. They should have won that game. They should have closed it out. In a vacuum, you would say, man, we blew that one, but it's okay. the reason why it's so dire is because of the bad start they've had. But the bad start they've had isn't because they haven't been playing well. It's because they haven't been healthy. So can we allow them in their first game in about a month or so, more than a month of all being together, can we allow them, some rust to just kind of work it out as they get back to where they want to be? Because I'm pretty sure if you're noticing these things and I'm noticing these things, it's not like Spo's walking into practice and say, all right, guys, let's get some shots up and go home. They're probably talking about it. You got to give them the kind of the benefit of the doubt that they're going to get this turnaround in time. There's still a lot of season left, and for as bad as they've had a start, they're not that far out from home court advantage, let alone an 18.
Fair enough, and I generally agree with you, but every time they drop a result like that, I'm worried because you say it's a long season, but it's not as long as it used to be. Every time they drop a game to the Charlotte Hornets or blow a big lead or get blown out early and try to make it look close at the end, I am dreading a Brooklyn Nets first-round matchup because there's not much they can't make up that much ground in a 72-game season, I don't think, Amin.
They can if they get Bradley Beal.
That'll help. And it wouldn't surprise you if they did, right? Because one of the things also, Mike, that I think is fair to say, if you're expecting these giant leaps like you've already seen where Bam Adebayo is putting the standard, where you're expecting these leaps, I don't know, I mean, if you're using the counting stats through 4 years to compare him to Giannis, because Bam Adebayo is statistically, through the counting stats, doing in year 4 what it is that Greek Freak did in year 4. But Tyler Hero, it might be unfair to expect Tyler Hero to immediately start or return back to the place. Hey, can you give us 37 a night in the finals? Like, can you do that for us in a game, in an important playoff game against Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals? He hasn't been that this year. He's been plenty good and fine for a 20-year-old, but if you can't, what is the evolution process that we're supposed to be expecting there? What's fair to him?
Definitely not 37 on any given night. I was doing hoop streams with Kendrick Perkins a few months ago, and Perk said Tyler Hero is going to be an all-star next season, and I said absolutely not. There's nothing in his current trajectory and the situation he's in that's going to allow him to be an all-star because, and I know this is going to sound harsh, he's not that good. Could he be an all-star in his career? Absolutely. Right now, though, no. He's a guy that had some good playoff games because he took advantage of some situations and some opportunities. It's not unlike what Sam Cassell did as a rookie for the Houston Rockets in '94. He was instrumental in them winning a championship. He had big games. He had big shots. He had this poise and this swagger. But, you can't then just project, because he did it once or twice in a big stage environment. Now he can do it over the course of an entire season better than almost every other player in the conference. There's just too much expectation for a guy who, not only a young guy as far as his age, but a young guy in terms of, just absorbing all this stuff. You got Jack Harlow making a song about him and stuff. You have a little bit of putting the cart before the horse with him. And I think Miami's doing a good job of internally not putting those expectations on him, letting him grow into what he can possibly become. But the reality is the biggest thing that Tyler Hero has going for him is he's a pretty nice centerpiece for a trade if you're going to try and swing for someone else.
All right, Mike, hold on a second. I can't believe that you weren't just recoiling away from the microphone. Amin Elhassan just smeared your face with the take, Tyler Hero's not that good. And Tyler Hero's been the reason that you don't have Bradley Beal, I would assume already. That the Heat fan base, as of a game ago, you didn't even stop him on Tyler Hero's not that good, when all of a sudden now it's going to take 6 and 12 for everybody to come over to the side of, okay, you give up Tyler Hero for him because you need Bradley Beal to rescue us. How did you not react to Tyler Hero is not that good?
Because I've been going through his girlfriend's IG looking for a smoking gun as to why he was out the previous games with the health and safety protocol. Mm-hmm. Katya.
Worth it?
Me, probably.
Yeah. Always. No, but Dan, to be fair, I don't think Tyler Hero is the reason why Bradley Beal's not a Miami Heat player. I think the reason is what Whitty brought up a week ago or 2 weeks ago. It's those magical words, pick inventory, right? If you're the Washington Wizards and you got to trade Bradley Beal, I see what Drew Holiday went for. I see what Paul George went for. I see what James Harden went for. I want that kind of package with 1 million picks. And Miami's biggest problem is because of owed picks they've done from deals of Christmas past, it's hard for them to cobble together enough of their own first-round picks. Now, what they can do to get around that is offer pick swaps. Hey, if you end up worse than I or better than I do, you get to have my pick, my better pick, and I'll take your worst pick. You can do that. You can go out and acquire extra picks out on the market by trading other guys, but that obviously makes the mission of getting Bradley Beal and getting a Bradley Beal package together a lot harder than if you just had your own pick.
Dan and Amin, respectfully, Bradley Beal's not here because Bradley Beal hasn't demanded a trade anywhere. He wants to be a Wizard his entire life.
He doesn't want it badly enough, Amin.
He doesn't want it Bradley enough.
Hey-o. Wow.
I do love that. That is the assumption at this point in Miami. That's the arrogance and entitlement of Miami. I mean, well, Bradley Beal's not here only because we're not willing to give up Tyler Hero, right? It doesn't have anything to do with what Bradley Beal might want, right? That's not in play.
I would say that Bradley Beal hasn't publicly told people that he wants out. That's how I would frame that. We don't know publicly if he wants to be traded. Because the reality is when you look at Harden, when you look at Butler, when you look at Anthony Davis, the reason we knew they wanted to be traded is because they came out and said, I want to get traded. And the reason why they did that and made such a public stink about it is because after privately expressing those wishes, they were rebuffed by their teams, right? The team either didn't take it seriously or outright said, no, we're not going to trade you. We don't care if it gets uncomfortable. And so once you have that kind of conversation, that contentious conversation with your team where you're like, hey, thanks for the memories, but I'd like to move on. And they're saying, no, you ain't going nowhere. Or, oh, he'll be fine. He'll change his mind. Then you have to escalate to the next step, and the next step is making a mess. If Bradley Beal has privately expressed his desire to get traded to Wizards management, and Wizards management tells him, you got it, man. Thank you for the memories. We're going to do everything we can now. We want a big package for you. So it might take a while, but you just got to trust us, just like we did with John when we traded John Wall, and we'll take care of it. If that is the scenario that's happening, then right now you see what you see, which is Bradley Beal doesn't request a trade, doesn't demand to go to Miami or anything, but also he looks frustrated as hell after every loss, where he just looks exhausted and he's rolling his eyes, and in the post-game press conferences he's talking about, they're asking him, are you frustrated? And he says, is the sky blue? Like that is the behavior of someone who is holding his tongue.
You said thanks for the memories. Name a memory. Beal.
For Bradley Beal, the other night when they beat the Nets. How about that?
No one. 2 years from now, if I ask you about that, you won't remember it. Like, I'm trying to put myself in Bradley Beal's shoes, and I'm thinking, like, hey, if I have this contract, I get traded to the Heat. The money's not going to get any bigger, right? It's not going to be more than it was with Washington. Like, why not? Yeah, but you have no expectations there. You kind of show up when you feel like showing up, you know. You're a looter in a riot. Like, I don't know. There's no pressure. I think Beal kind of likes that. I think what he's doing after the games where he looks disappointed is he's selling you on the fact that he's disappointed. I think Beal is perfectly fine scoring 35 a game with no pressure, no expectations, and no one paying attention.
Stugotz, to echo your point, he did score 60 in a loss one time.
You had to look it up, though, right?
No, I Googled it to confirm. I'm like, I thought he scored 60.
All right,
so there's a good career highlight.
Let's agree it's a short highlight package in terms of the memories.
They were good when Wall was healthy.
Hold on. First of all, Stugotz, the money is bigger because he goes to Florida and there's no state income tax.
Okay.
That makes a massive debt.
You're right.
Second of all, you're arguing with me about remembering something 2 years from now. What was the name of the girl that hit the game winner in the college basketball game?
Yes. What was the school?
I called it the biggest shot
what was
in college
the girl?
basketball
What was the
history.
school? Who was playing? What was the school? Who won the championship? Stugotz said, biggest shot ever, male or female. He overcorrected on being trying to be extra woke.
Was it a need?
What was the team? Do you remember what the team was? Oh, God. I mean, we're going to let you go on that note because we got to get Adam Lefko in here, but we've got a new shirt going up at worldofsuey.com in honor of Amin. He's on the pirate ship, even though the CEO is not sure why he's on the pirate ship, and even though he's not being paid, and he was suspended without pay because he's not being paid.
He's on a pirate ship with no internet.
He said the other day, right now, yes, no internet, but right now what's happening is that Amin Elhassan is saying to us. What was it? What was the signature quote from last week? You got to let a pirate do what a pirate do, or what was it?
Occasionally a pirate will do pirate shit.
And so,
everyone loves pirates until they start doing pirate shit.
All right, and so in honor of that, a shirt has gone up at worldofsuey.com if you want to support all the things Amin is about. I love, this is so far my favorite of the shirts my brother has made. Have you seen it, Stugotz?
I have not. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes, and so it's at worldofsuey.com if you want to support the Amin cause. We didn't even get to LeBron making courtside Karen trend last night. Give us a minute of thoughts there before we get to Left Go.
Let me tell you right now, and no offense to my friends at Turner Sports like Adam Lefko, but the idea of having an all-star game in Atlanta, this is what I'm worried about. It's a powder keg. You have a wide-open city. You have a global pandemic. You have a weekend of events that always attracts people who are trying to have the time of their lives, pandemic be damned. All of this converging on Atlanta, a city known for its nightlife, I am terrified. And courtside Karen is like a harbinger of death, of coming. Like, this is what's going to happen. You're just going to have a bunch of crazy drunk people around NBA players and going to expect nothing to go wrong.
I can't believe that we found ourselves in Atlanta on the first day of Black History Month with LeBron James, as crowds are allowed, crowds such as they are, right? Because it's not very large crowds are allowed into the game. And this woman from a cartoon world, from just, I don't even know how to explain who this woman is, but the idea that she would be courtside in the mutated form of what America has become post-pandemic, where there are no crowds, and that even the heckling is something. What Russell Westbrook during the playoffs last year, didn't he have a family ejected for heckling him, and it was like the weird pandemic moment last
in Utah,
night?
yeah.
Somebody shouldn't be in a situation where they're behaving as if it's a finals game in Miami during a pandemic. How many people were in that crowd that night? And then LeBron, and we go down this hole where it's LeBron fighting courtside Karen. Is Karen the only word that's been weaponized so far by the left against the right? The courtside Karen, where you've got a benign word like woke or snowflake or whatever else. Karen is just a reference to white woman, isn't it? And that's why LeBron made a trend last night when he called her courtside Karen, because there are no black Karens. Is that what it is?
Well, Karen is more about your behavior than it is who you are, but it just so happens that 99.99% of Karens are white women.
And so what did you make of the back and forth last night? Because she immediately became Instagram famous by retelling that she told LeBron she was going to bleep him up.
Yeah, I think that's what's at play here. Whatever was exchanged, LeBron himself said, I didn't want them to be ejected. I didn't think they needed to be ejected. But the moment she got ejected, her and her husband, she capitalized on this 15 seconds of fame that I think that's what's bedeviling our country now and really the society. This idea that, like, something happened to me, let me see if I can, like, push the ball forward and make more of a stink. And that's what she tried to do on her Instagram story, just going on and cussing. And I'm just like, what's the point of this? Why are we paying attention to this? Why are we giving this woman longer than the 15 seconds that she needs?
Soho Karen was Puerto Rican, Dan.
Okay, well, because she was cartoonish, because the entire controversy was cartoonish and funny, and because LeBron stirred it up by saying that courtside Karen was mad.
How vulnerable do you feel right now?
Very much.
You
guys just left me hanging there. It's a perfect way to end the segment. Thank you, Amin. Go buy his pirate shirt. Matt?
The 55th big game is this weekend. 55. A game this big deserves a big prize, not just some trophy. To finish off the football season, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is giving all players a no-brainer of an offer. To celebrate football's finale, DraftKings Sportsbook is doubling your money if a touchdown is scored in the big game. That's right. All it takes is for one touchdown to be scored Sunday night, and boom, your money is doubled. Sounds like a no-brainer. As if this game wasn't enough reason to party, with double the cash, you'll be celebrating until next season. Don't forget about DraftKings Big Game Prediction Challenge, with up to $55 million in total prizes up for grabs and instant prizes for everyone who enters the contest. DraftKings has paid out over $7 billion to its players since 2012, so they know a thing or two about big paydays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DAN to get a shot at doubling your money if a touchdown is scored in Sunday's game. That's promo code Dan to get a shot at doubling your money during Sunday night's season finale only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Colorado only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/prediction-challenge-DFS for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT, or in Colorado, 1-800-522-4700.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Before we get to Greg, I have an update on my artisanal Shiva gift.
Oh, Jesus.
So, I had someone, a very nice customer service person from Shiva.com. This is not a personal endorsement. This is just appropriate context, and I find it funny that it's just directly Shiva.com.
So do I.
There's a huge snowstorm in the Northeast, and I paid for overnight shipping, and I got a call on Monday saying, man, sorry, the snowstorm, your overnight shipping isn't going to get there until Thursday. I'm like, well, thank you very much. You have a very kind disposition, but that's not overnight. In fact, there have already been 2 nights since I've placed this order.
And time is of the essence,
Yeah.
as we all learned
Yes.
for the reasons you sending the gift really is a symbol for time is of the essence. It's all fleeting. It's all final.
So what are we going to do here? He was a very nice person. And he's like, well, I'm not really authorized to give refunds. I'm like, I don't want a refund on the whole thing. I just want a refund on the overnight because that was like $35.
Sure.
So, look, something needs to be done here. Hold on. Gives me a call 2 hours later. Now I still have to pay the overnight shipping, but he really upsold me on the fact that now my artisanal pretzel Shiva package has been upgraded to the deluxe artisanal.
No, but wait a minute. It's getting there many days late after the Shiva.
Get in there today.
But the Shiva's over.
Did he waive the 30? Well, the Shiva's
No,
not
you
over.
sit Shiva for what, 7 days?
Yeah, the Shiva's not over.
Yeah,
So
this
they're-
goyim.
They're still in the.
So it's going to still get there on time.
It's
I was
going to get
worried.
there on time. Did you get the $35 waived and you get an upgrade?
No. So they're
He
still charging me.
upgraded you without giving you back the $35.
You got to have
Correct.
Stugotz call. You
Yeah,
got to have
that's a
Stugotz
terrible
call.
job,
Get him.
Michael.
But
You
I-
have to get Stugotz to call as you
Yeah.
and record it as he tries to get you more money for your pretzel.
I kind of thought that this was a win because they've upgraded the artisanal package. This is, from what I've been told, a $25 value on my $35 shipping. It's a net. It's a net -10. But you know what? Diamond hands.
Right, but my dad still doesn't have it. I mean,
It's getting there today. I've been assured because this
But
shipment
he
is not
texted-
coming
he-
from New York. It's
Right.
coming from Miami.
he texted me already today saying he didn't get it yet.
I'm not good. You should have a satellite office in South Florida if you're Shiva.com is all I'm saying. Shiva.com should absolutely have a factory somewhere in South
Palm
Florida.
Beach. In Palm Beach, you're right.
Yeah.
Why is Shiva.com not headquartered here? Is because in the .com age you don't have to have a headquarter? Everybody's a P.O. box?
This person wasn't an executive, but I'm like, if you have a suggestion box, I would like to recommend that Shiva.com have a South Florida office.
It would be a hit, man.
So Greg Cote of the Miami Herald, you're going to have to forgive us because we have never felt further. This is a weird thing that's happening inside of me, Stugotz, because
Yeah.
for years at ESPN, all I did was stomp around. I don't want to be a part of Radio Row. I don't want to be a part of the Super Bowl. But I want so much normal in a pandemic. I want something that feels like the show. I want a phone line that works. I want engineers I'm not paying. I want somebody to reach out and make us feel like we're close to Super Bowl week because we feel totally untethered. I can't believe I'm saying it. I can't believe I had to get out of ESPN in order to long for Radio Row, but we feel totally detached from everything that's happening, not just this week in Tampa, the Super Bowl, football. We can't even get attached to the shipping container. We're calling the shipping container by landline, like on a telephone. Like we've never been this large as a show, and we have never been this untethered from any single thing that has to do with doing our show, including getting paid for doing it, because now severance is running out for everybody and the ship is leaking holes and we can't even get up and running internet today.
Yeah, it was very exciting at the beginning. I'm starting to get nervous, but you miss Radio Row? You've never even been there. How could you miss it?
You understand what I'm saying, correct? You understand it's not really Radio Row. I miss the ability to just occasionally talk to a football voice and have 10 minutes of what's the most important thing that the Chiefs or the Bucks have to do to win the Super Bowl.
Listen, I get it. Last year, just a year ago, me and Billy this week we're sitting next to Derrick Henry. I mean,
we are far away, right? In a year, a lot has changed. Just a year ago, Chris Cote was dressed as a battery, and we were flaunting on the set of First Take the fact that the Clevelanders are our house. And now the Clevelanders are our house, but it feels like our house has been left behind. It feels like our house is totally vacated. It's Whittingham, he's sad. It's Mike who's talking to engineers. It's us calling Greg Cote right now for a Back in My Day. This is going to be like walkie-talkie radio in the 50s right now.
Well, give Cody some credit. He is a national football voice. I mean, he is. Greg Cote, he's a local who's turned national.
He is closer to the Super Bowl right now than we are. This does not in any way, if you've been listening to our show, this feels like Super Bowl week. How? Because the frenzy of Super Bowl week for us has always been, we're the show that doesn't care about the Super Bowl. Everything around us cares about the Super Bowl. We don't have to talk to anybody. We could just fool around over here and hopefully no one will notice. But we've lost the entire structure of what it is that we used to exist inside of.
Now, no internet. That's certainly a shock to the system. But I think your timelines might be screwed up again because before the pandemic, before we knew Zoom was a thing, everyone that used to guest on this show, this is wild, would have to sit by a phone and wait for a call. Mm-hmm. And that's what we got going on right here. Honestly, things were going way too well for our show. Yeah. We had a Twitch that went seamlessly.
People want it every day now. Yeah. People are the entitled people in our group are demanding an everyday Twitch as if they don't understand at all what the infrastructure here requires.
Well, on a permanent basis, like it's expensive enough to do that just once. But we were the marching band of nowhere, and then in free agency, as this pirate ship, we were a marching band to the moon. So now we've bottomed out. Technology has failed us, and we're the lovable underdogs again, I think.
But if you want a football voice, I mean, we don't need to be at ESPN to get a football voice. I can get you Chris Sims. I can get you Mike Golick. I can get you Trey Wingo or Sean Salisbury.
That's not what I miss. I don't miss.
You want to mix in a Brian Westbrook?
I don't. Yeah, good God. Isn't that the sports radio list that Stugotz is always? We're going to go through that phone and we're going to find Lawrence Maroney's going to be the only Brian Westbrook we're going to find around there. Speaking of which, Greg Cote of the Miami Herald is with us now by phone as we try to do some semblance of the show normally.
You're saying by phone like no one talks on the phone.
This is the ridiculous part about what we're doing. Greg Cote is used to be at the height of entertainment. Greg Cote is here. He sits in the box. He gets his face on television. He plugs his podcast. Tuesdays are a great joy for Greg Cote. He's entitled. He believes he deserves them. He wants to know when he's going to start getting paid for them. He wants to be the only one around here being paid right now as we work all for free during a startup phase.
Greg Cote joining us on the unsponsored performance line.
That's right.
I mean, listen, he got a day off today.
That's
he's
right.
very excited.
No, but he's not excited. You'd be excited with a day off, but you weirdly keep coming in anyway because it's healing for you. And Greg Cote doesn't actually want a day off. He wants the day to complain about why he's not being paid, to do his Back in My Day, and to promote his podcast and his Fantasy League Gala. So let's see how much Greg Cote we could stick in a single phone segment here by beginning with the Back in My Day. How do you feel about it, Greg? Do you feel strongly about it?
Confidence shaking a little bit, but, I'm toughing through it, man.
All right.
I'm plowing forward.
All right, we are ready to do it. Give him his imaging, please.
And now, it is time to take a trip down memory lane. Here's your guide, Greg Cote, with Back in My Day.
Life coaches. Whatever happened to self-sufficiency? The very basic idea that everyone was their own head coach in the game of life. Now, apparently, many of us require a coaching staff to help us navigate the simple art of simply living. Life coaches, personal trainers, personal chefs, wellness coaches. When did getting from one week to the next become akin to traversing the Grand Canyon on a tightrope? Why do we need a personal guru on call to guide us with advice once considered as plain common sense? Now, look, don't get me wrong. I certainly am not against people seeking help if they actually need it. Physical help from doctors, mental help from therapists. Go for it. Do all the healing you require. But This wellness obsession invites proper ridicule. And so Fran Lebowitz does so in the new documentary series Pretend It's a City on Netflix. As she puts it, people carrying around yoga mats is a problem. You see, people wear Fitbit and Google watches with health tracking stats on their smartphones, wearable technology to monitor fitness levels, spas, yoga, juice bars, massage, meditation. God, we pamper ourselves as a life coach guides us at $50 an hour. No wonder wild animals out there all on their own, no help, hate us. Do you know my mother was born on a kitchen table? My dad swallowed pills with spit, no water. It wasn't that long ago the idea of wellness coaches was unheard of. Granted, folks live a lot longer now, but that's information, common sense, genes, science, and evolution doing that, not a wellness coach. I'm looking at a TV ad the other night for one of those trendy, pricey stationary bikes that have so mesmerized, easily swayed millennials. I love the metaphor of exercise on a treadmill, of literally running continuously in place and getting nowhere. So in the video, the young sweating woman on the treadmill is being exhorted by a virtual personal trainer on a video screen, exhorting her to climb harder, work harder, give more. Same with that new gimmicky thing where you basically watch yourself exercising in a $1,500 mirror, shadow boxing or doing squats, while the small coach in the mirror inspires you on your shoulder like a guardian angel. This is the perfect toy for the fitness obsessed, being able to see themselves in action as they aggressively pursue wellness. Do you really need a magic watch on your wrist or a virtual trainer to help inspire you? Because if they aren't there, you might just say, the hell with it, and lapse into a gallon of chocolate ice cream. People, as Fran Lebowitz says, your bad habits might kill you, but your good habits won't save you. Hey, I'm a life coach. Don't smoke cigarettes. Have an occasional salad. Don't weigh 340 pounds. There. Now take the rest of the day off and enjoy your life. I'm Greg Cote, and that's how it was back in my day.
All right. Just excellent. All around excellent.
What got you? My mom was born on the kitchen table.
No, I'll tell you. Hold on. Yes, I think that one got us all, and we will ask some follow-up questions there. But I believe that what got me was the sentence before that. Greg, can you just reread the sentence before my mom was born on a kitchen table?
She was, by the way. That's the truth. Let me look it up here. Hang on. No wonder wild animals out there all on their own, no help, hate us.
I don't believe that's true. I don't know that that's the reason that animals hate us. But you sound.
They don't have wellness.
You sound awful.
You sound terrible. It was great. It was legitimately great. We were delighted to hear it. It sounded, quoting Fran Lebowitz is wonderful because these have an Andy Rooney quality to them where it's just an old man yelling as he descends into a lack of health. But you
Thank
do.
you.
Fran Lebowitz and I are
Small windows.
Perfect.
Small windows for Greg Cote.
Yes, how is he better on a phone?
Yes, how is he better on a phone?
It's his natural environment.
That's correct. That's it. A landline. We found the way to use Cote correctly. Wait, we could do a great show around Cote this way. I'd love to hear a Lobos update because the reason Cote's on the show is just because I enjoyed my phone calls with him. He's hysterical on the phone. He stinks on the
It
radio.
is time now for a weekly update on our favorite team, Rex Lobos. Here is their head coach and president of football operations, Greg Cote.
He's like Nick Foles. He's better coming off the bench.
He's amazing.
It's not even a phone. I'm on a tin can with a string. Listen, we just had the PFBI Gala. Speaking of Greg's Lobos, the PFBI Gala was this past weekend, and you can hear all about it on the new Greg Cote Show podcast.
Oh, for the love of God.
Which also includes a Super Bowl preview in which Ron McGill talks about goats. But the PFBI Gala was fantastic. It was fantastic. We honored Dick's Rough Riders. It was the new champion. I mean, it was just it was truly a gala in every sense of the word.
All right.
You were dressed up a lot more than usual. I commented to your son yesterday that it was real interesting to see how that production value went up, and he said there were resources now that you were strictly promoting your podcast where all the good from the attention goes straight into Greg Cote. It was perfect,
Right.
funding your narcissism.
Well, this was history in the making because for the first time, the PFPI Gala was actually sponsored by the Greg Cote Show podcast. So at our gala site, a.k.a. my living room, we actually had signage, Greg Cote Show signage, as you would see professionally around the stadium or stuff. So it was really fantastic.
LED.
All right, wait a minute. What is it? What kind of money laundering are you doing? The Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote, is that a business expense?
Did you go to Kinko's?
Funding the night at a gala? Is that a business expense?
Well, the signage consisted of a printout of our show logo, but it was in black and white because I ran out of color ink.
It's best to be
What else was said? No, he's the greatest. We
got
gotta
Prime
do this.
Shack in the
We
low block.
gotta do this on the
This is
phone with him all the
amazing.
time. So what else was? Tell us more about the gala and the sad parts of the gala and how embarrassed your sons are because they are now adults and you're still treating them as if they haven't grown at all since they
Right.
were 13.
That's right. Well, the fun thing about the gala is the heckling aspect because Michael and Christopher are just merciless, and I can't stop from laughing. And at one point, I'm in the middle of a heartfelt speech about the importance of PFPI in all our lives, and I hear Michael murmur loudly, "Mom, wake up!" Just things like that. It's it's sad and funny at the same time. It's great, and it's all on the Greg Cote Show podcast out now wherever you do your potting.
I mean, you have never sounded. You don't sound great, but you have never been
No,
so good.
It's funny.
You've never been so funny.
You've never been so funny.
unbelievable.
Do you have a soup of the day? I want more.
We want more Greg Cote. Greg, let's test the boundaries on this and see if Greg Cote could do off the top of his head, not written, a soup of the day of some sort, just to see if he is indeed. We have found the secret wheelhouse for Greg Cote.
phone!
This is prime Greg Cote. Just give him a landline. But let's do that next, Mike, and let's also call Chris because I want to get more details on the PFPI Gala. So let's stop right here and call Chris Cote and bring him in because I need more details.
Stugotz here. In every relationship, there's a short list of forgivable offenses, but missing the most romantic day of the year isn't one of them. Valentine's is here, so don't wait. Head to 1-800-Flowers.com today. Right now, 1-800-Flowers has a last-minute offer for listeners of this show. Get 24 multicolored roses for just $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for $10 more. It's an unbelievable offer from 1-800-Flowers, 24 multicolored roses for just $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more. Whether it's a full spectrum of multicolored roses or timeless red roses, you can't go wrong with a bouquet from 1-800-Flowers. All roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak, cared for every step of the way, and shipped fresh to ensure lasting beauty. Order now and get 24 multicolored roses for $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more. Bouquets are selling fast, so you have to take care of this today. Do it right now. To order 24 multicolored roses for $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more, it's simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon, and enter code DANPOD. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code DANPOD, D-A-N-P-O-D. Hurry, the offer expires Wednesday.
All right, Chris Cote, on a day that has been weird because we're in the studio, we can't see anybody, we're just calling people on the phone and trying to recreate our show through tin cans, walkie-talkies, and Greg Cote's on a heater right now, so we're going to ride this heater, going to keep throwing him the ball in the post and bring in his son, Chris Cote, because yesterday I threw in his lap. You may have been listening, Stugotz. I got very little help on the PFPI Gala. I don't know if Chris Cote is rattled because Whittingham has been outperforming him lately or what's going on, but Chris is not quite himself.
No, now Lefko has issues with him, and Chris is all over the place.
Chris, Cote, you didn't actually hear it because you weren't here to hear it. You would have been shocked and mortified, but Lefko did a wrestling promo at your expense, and he's going on tonight to do a show that is rocketing him into superstardom and broadcasting. And he said he's going to stare into the camera and he's going to be thinking of you and the ways to bury you because you don't think he's someone who would take notes to learn about Ernie Johnson, to find out how to be a great professional broadcaster. Your learning tree is Stugotz and Greg Cote. And so we arrive in a place where you were snickering with your brother during the PFPI gala as your father rockets to superstardom with his own promotion. Tell me how it came to be that the Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote sponsored the PFPI Gala and how much money laundering is involved there and how sad this ceremony was that you and your brother were making fun of.
Oh, it was incredibly sad. And I found out that the Greg Cote Show was sponsoring the gala when my dad told me. So that's how I found out that. And it was an epic night. I don't know, like we're snickering at him because we love him and we're a family that's bonded together. And, you know, like you can't break us apart. And by the way, did Lefko show you guys those notes? I bet he didn't. So.
No, I told him to take a picture and he has not produced it.
We're waiting to see that. We're going to put that on social media and escalate the beef as Greg, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you petering out?
Choked up?
You're petering out after you're back in my day?
No, the problem is, you know, the phone doesn't have a mute button like Zoom, so I can't, when I'm needing to clear my throat, all I can do is extend my arm and hope that it's muffled, you know.
It actually
your phone does have a mute button.
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah, it does. And you don't use the Zoom mute button.
Well,
hang on, let me look at my phone. Hang on.
Hold on. I'm going to try.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
I'm going to get call waiting. I'm going to try and get him.
All right, I'll get him.
No, I just saw the mute button.
Yeah.
You getting a call?
All right, my phone's oh God, I see who's calling. All right. Yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, Batard Enterprises. Who refers to themselves as an enterprise? Enterprises.
You missed a great opportunity when you were looking for the mute button
You guys better hope Batard Enterprises is not a joke. You two specifically, you two better hope that it's not quite that funny. Enterprises showing up on your caller ID.
And for Greg, you better have better health benefits. I mean,
you better hope Batard Enterprises has some health benefits, Cody. That cough has been lingering for 3 years.
I know, but it's better now. It really is.
What? Well, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
How much laughing were you guys doing at your dad?
A lot. I mean, it's the yearly tradition. I mean, I can't get a read on him on how he feels about the laughter because it would just be the most boring thing ever if it was just him talking. Like, we make it exciting. Like, Dad, do you really get that offended by us mocking you?
No, in fact, some of it is so funny that I go out of character as commissioner and I start laughing, like when Michael says, "Mom, wake up," as if she's sleeping during my speech. And then there was one time that what were you saying, making fun of the pants I was wearing or something?
Well, you had the baggiest dress pants on that I've ever seen. Like, see, I got to take a picture of these baggy dress pants he was wearing. Like, I don't know.
This is formal wear for the commissioner, correct? Formal wear for the commissioner?
It's formal wear. I wear, wingtip shoes and black dress jeans.
You're walking.
Nice dress shirt.
You're walking across a floor that has been there for how long? A carpet that has been there for how long?
Well, it's wood, not carpet.
All right. So you're walking across wood that's been there for how long?
Oh, gosh. I mean, a dozen years or more.
Okay. And you're walking across this wearing your finest formal wear, and it is baggy. And your goal is to stay in character all night as the commissioner, right? You never want to fall out of character, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Because it's a natural role I'm playing. I don't even know if character is the right word. I mean, I am the PFPI commissioner. The only time I have to change character is when I make a speech as Greg's Lobos.
At which point he literally will say, "And now Greg's Lobos," and then he'll walk 5 steps.
No,
right.
He introduces himself. No, he introduces himself.
Wait a minute.
I love you so much.
Can we
man.
recreate that, please? I'd like to hear that. Greg, how does that end up sounding as your family hostages in this situation, basically, humoring the old coughing man. As your family endures this, can you just take us through a little recreation? I'm sure they can get the whole thing on Greg Cote's podcast featuring Greg Cote, but a little recreation here by way of promotional. Do you have a clip?
Christopher might be able to produce that for you. I don't know how to do that.
I didn't send you that clip. I can send you that clip in like 2 minutes.
I was more asking
I
was more asking like a late night show. Like you don't really need to give me the clip. Just
no, but actually, I think I would like the clip. Send me the clip. Wait, oh damn it, I don't have email.
Exactly. I just want to hear Greg do it. Greg, can you introduce yourself like you were at the gala?
Yeah, well, the funniest thing was I previously recorded myself introducing myself, and it came out like real tinny. So on a recording to begin the gala, you hear me saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome PFPI Commissioner Greg Cote." And then there's a pause, and I walk up to the podium. That was a recording. I didn't.
It's weird.
So wait a minute. Wait, hold on. That's not you introducing you. That's a recording of you introducing you.
Yes, that's right. And I did it on my iPhone voice memo, so it came off like really tinny,
and then
like I was speaking out in a barrel.
This is him just at the podium holding a phone up that says, "Ladies and gentlemen, PFPI Commissioner Greg Cote."
That's right.
And then he saunters off.
No, so wait a minute. Then do you leave, or you're standing there holding the phone? Do you show up then, or were you behind a curtain or something?
Hold on. My dad's confusing two things. The thing where he holds up his phone is at the start of the entire ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, PFPI Commissioner Greg Cote, that's done on his phone, which he's holding there awkwardly standing.
Right.
And then when we get to time for the speeches for every team, he's the commissioner up there, and it's time to introduce Greg's Lobos, and that is when he takes 6 steps to the right, turns around, and comes back to the stage.
Okay, so we got it. Very well done, Chris. So, Greg, we want you as commissioner introducing yourself, calling yourself up to the podium.
And then thank yourself as yourself, thanking the commissioner.
Okay. Okay, as the commissioner, I'm going, and tied for second place this season, he's the all-time PFPI champion with 9 championships, 4 in the modern era. The Lobos reigned in 1972, 73, 75, 78, 2006, 2011, 13, 18, and 19. Please welcome Greg's Lobos. And then I step away, and as the applause ebbs, I come up to the podium.
Was there applause? And hold on, you come up to the podium and say what? Do you say thank you, Commissioner?
Do you change your voice?
Right. No, actually, my voice does change a little bit. I think as commissioner, my voice wants to be a little more stately, a little more august. And as Greg's Lobos, it's pretty much just me, but, I'm conveying my disappointment. I had won 2 years in a row prior to this season. No one's ever done the trifecta, so the odds were against me. So I just discussed things like that in my speech.
So there are speeches for everyone who finishes. There are 4 people, 5 people in the fantasy league? 5?
There's 6 people. We do them in inverse order. So whoever finished 6th, who happens to be Chris Cote, speaks first, and then the champion speaks last.
I want to be invited next year if possible.
Oh, you're there.
This is the best you've ever been. Like, are you ready for Soup of the Day?
Yes, we got to do a Soup of the Day with him. But before we do that, real quick, Chris, your wife is also – there are 6 people in the PFPI Fantasy Lobos draft, but your wife is there reluctantly, correct? So what is her speech like?
It's funny because she actually, I think, because she's not – my mom's been with him forever. We're like, his actual kids. So she buys into it actually more than anybody. She plays along. Like, she kind of winks at me and my brother, like, does it sarcastically. But she'll say all the things that actually supports my dad, even though she's secretly mocking him.
Good wife. Excellent work by your wife. All right, let's push our luck here with Greg Cote. We're going to wing it. A freestyle Soup of the Day out of nowhere.
Put on your aprons, boys. It's time to step into the kitchen. Here is our head chef, Greg Cote, with his soup de jour.
I mean, you teased the soup of the day like 15 minutes ago out of nowhere. I mean,
I should have said nowhere better than I just did, too.
Weird.
I should have been a professional. I was trying to nail the dismount with my enthusiasm doing this tin can radio we're doing today. I'm so excited that Greg Cote has been good for what feels like we're at the end of a second segment. This is what getting help from Greg Cote feels like.
He's been good out of nowhere.
Let's go, Greg. A soup of the day.
Well, is it a soup? Is it a stew?
oh my God.
It may be controversial, but it comes with a spoon, so we're calling it a soup. It's what you can't pronounce, but you want to eat. It's coq au vin. That's right, the French delicacy. The chicken is braised in burgundy wine with pork fat and mushrooms and garlic. It's braised long and slow. The wine burns out, but the flavor stays. The chicken is beautiful. It's fall apart tender in this rich, deep-colored broth. The aroma. The aroma. And then you dig in. You take a spoonful. Get a little chicken on that spoon. Get a mushroom on that spoon. Bring it to your mouth. Your mouth goes agape.
This is weirdly sensual. It's weird. It's making me uncomfortable.
He's rolling, Dan.
I know, but it's making me uncomfortable. The sounds he's making are deeply uncomfortable. Was anyone else creeped out by the sensuality? The baby. How do you say baby in French? How do you say butt stuff in French?
Baby.
Greg, thank you. Your best performance in years.
Great stuff.
Excellent
Standing
work
out,
out of
Greg.
you. Next week, unpaid. We will call you by phone. We don't need to do this with you on Zoom. We've been doing it wrong for many years here. Don't come into the studio. Just call us and be competent. The Greg Cote Show, featuring Greg Cote or with Greg Cote. What's the name of the podcast?
The Greg Cote Show with Greg Cote. And if you want more of the PFBI Gala, this is your pod.
Chris, anything else we need to know? We're going to put that clip in. What else do we need to know that we missed out on the gala? Because there's not enough information from this that we can mine for the funny.
I mean, Uncle Dick makes his speech. You don't want to miss that.
Okay. Uncle Dick's Rough Riders. Baby. See you later, Cody.
See you
See you
guys.
later. Bye.
This is the Dan Levator Show with the Stugotz podcast.
This has been a rough morning, and Mike Ryan, I don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. Are we going to attempt to do a show tomorrow based on our current conditions where we are adrift from the shipping container? We're going to bring Billy in here in a second by phone line because this show has been a challenge today. No engineers around here, no internet, no nothing.
I'd say it's been a banner morning.
I've
this
enjoyed
is old school radio.
I've enjoyed it. It's not
yes.
even radio. It's honest to God, Stugotz, this is a true story. The formation of this show in my mind before 20 years ago, before I met you or before anything, was phone calls with my friends. It is Greg Cote being his funniest on the phone. I'm not even making that up.
Yeah.
It's just these conference calls 25 and 30 years ago where we would howl and snort with laughter and play the looks like game and do all of this cruddy stuff that we do around here. But, Mike, I need some help here bringing in Billy because I don't know what he's been doing all morning. We're bringing him in by phone.
Well, let me address your first question that you threw my way is if we're going to be here tomorrow. That might confuse a lot of the listeners because the established workflow that we've had here for about a month has been Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Now, that hasn't stopped Dan from every Sunday morning texting me what are the days we're working this week. So, inevitably, Dan has a conflict. But we're going to double our output for Super Bowl week. We're coming at you tomorrow, hopefully. Because of the established workflow that I mentioned, I actually told the Clevelander they could shut down power to the entire grid because a lot of stuff needs to be done on Wednesday morning, 6 to 8 a.m. So the technical difficulties that we've had today with the internet being out, I was actually worried about tomorrow. So my guess is tomorrow will somehow be even worse than today, Dan.
All right,
All right.
excellent.
All right.
So we bring in Billy here, and how have you spent your morning, Billy? Because this is you have never been available at this hour. You are always working, and because of everything that's happened right now, you've gotten to spend the day just sitting at home, not working?
Hey, guys, it's Billy. No, I wouldn't say not working. I've been, organizing. March Sadness is coming up. But more importantly than that, I've been watching First Take, and it has been, I want to say, just because of our schedule, probably like 5 or 6 years, if you don't include off days, since I've just been able to enjoy First Take. What a show. What a show this First Take is.
Who won today?
Well, what's happening there this morning, because we were just talking about, we have never felt, it's weird what I'm feeling. This is not Super Bowl week for the show. I have spent a decade railing against Super Bowl week, and the first time I get kicked out to the curb, I'm like, hey, can I have some Super Bowl week? Can I have a little bit? And it just makes me feel like a total fraud on the inside because we're in a studio with no shipping container. We're talking to Adam Lefko, who doesn't have anything to do with the Super Bowl. We have not had a Super Bowl guest. And last time the Super Bowl was literally in our backyard.
Yes.
That show you're talking about was by the pool outside. But now there's nobody working out there. We're in an abandoned hotel. Our futures are at risk. And I'm looking around a dark and cold room at just Stugotz and Mike. And we're calling Billy on the landline. And Billy, you're telling me First Take wins. That First Take is doing it better than we are today.
Well, we are, 42, 43 minutes into First Take, and you wouldn't know it from watching that it was Super Bowl week for them either yet. I think that's going to pick up later in the week. Right now they're having Jared Allen on. This is their first guest of the day, if you don't include Swagoo, who was sitting in. Swagoo, by the way, wow, he went straight from Get Up to First Take. I don't know how they did that so quick, but he had the last words on Get Up, then he started First Take. They covered in 42 minutes, from what I remember, 2 topics so far. One was Tom Brady, and 2 was Aaron Rodgers. And the Tom Brady was, will Tom Brady play after he's 45? Because he said he might do that. And Max started by saying he absolutely will. Who would question him? And then everyone pointed out, Max, you questioned him. You're the last person we want to hear from on this. And then that argument went on for about 20 minutes where they were just, going on and on, just pounding on poor Max the whole time. And then we moved over to Aaron Rodgers, and whether or not Aaron Rodgers and how that's going to end with the Packers. And Stephen A. let him off the hook, and then everyone said, Stephen A., if this was any other quarterback, you wouldn't be letting him off the hook. And then that went on for about another 21 minutes. So we're 43 minutes in, and Jared Allen now has joined the show. Swaggy's left for the moment. I don't know if he's coming back. Stephen A., by the way, wow, he's aging gracefully. He's got a little salt and pepper going on now. I hadn't noticed that. I don't know if this is because it's HD or I just haven't been paying attention, but he's got a little gray in there. I like it. I like this First Take show. It's pretty good. Have you guys checked it out?
Billy, I just saw a clip.
It's just getting started.
I'd like to hear more. I can't wait to hear more. But I just saw a clip yesterday of Stephen A. Smith sort of in his prime as Stephen A. Smith, where he was, I don't know, this had to be, is this before his show got canceled and then he became a star with his own show? Or is it after it got canceled and then he reinvented himself and created, like...
You mean the Cold Pizza show?
The Stephen A. story, not the Cold Pizza show. He had his own show on ESPN2, an interview show. He was going to be...
Quite frankly.
And his own show, and then he left ESPN, went into politics, and has totally rehabbed himself. But I saw an old clip of him ripping Kwame Brown as part of the Pau Gasol to the Lakers trade, and that is an enduring run across television that dude has had. As Max turns gray and looks up one day and realizes, wait a minute, I can't believe that this show turned into I have to be Stugotz. I have to be the New Yorker who gets buried here by Stephen A. every day, and Stephen A. is feeding on my soul as Max withered up. He's dying over here, and Billy's eating it up. Stephen A.'s still throwing haymakers, Super Bowl week on a Tuesday.
Yeah. And Max, by the way, looks less gray. I don't know if we ever addressed that or that was just a conversation that we had off here that we were worried about Max. He looked very gray on TV for a long time. Not like his hair, all of him. Like his face looked gray. Everything looked gray. But he looks great today. Stephen A., I'm choosing not to believe that he had a show that was canceled because he's had about 60 shows since that have just been added. I think he has a new show now too, right? Doesn't he have a new show? Also, my TV guide, I don't know what it is, but anytime SportsCenter is on, it just says Stephen A. Smith's SportsCenter. So I don't know if that was part of his new deal where they just renamed SportsCenter Stephen A. Smith's SportsCenter, or that's some sort of glitch in my my TV guide. But every time, ooh, wow, Stone Cold's coming on later. That has to be a Super Bowl week thing, right? Why would Stone Cold be coming on? Oh, wait, I know why he's coming on. It says it. Stone Cold is coming on to predict his Super Bowl winner. It is Super Bowl week, guys. Stone Cold.
Stephen A. owns SportsCenter. That's why it says that.
He hosts the one before the big NBA night, but I like your way better.
Yes. Bill, I do have a question for Billy because he mentioned March Sadness. Is there anything in the way of a little tease preview, perhaps, you can give myself, Dan, and the audience?
Well, before you do that, though, are we even going to be able to do this anymore with Kirkshin? Because the key staple, are we going to have to retire the looks like game or do it differently? Kirkshin wants to be on with us, but I don't think he's allowed to be on with us, and I don't think we want to be sending Kirkshin into a big fight with management about being on with us. He's got the credentials to win that fight, but what are we going to do there? Can Kirkshin be a paid guest? I'm legitimately asking, what's going to happen to the looks like game if we can't use Tim Kirkshin?
You're still asking me questions over the air, huh?
Okay, I'll ask it not on the air eventually. I don't know the answer to that question.
The answer's always been no. I got a Bank South Beach session with Mike Schur and Tim Kirkshin that's totally innocuous that I can't
All right,
play.
well, speaking of all that, okay, a South
Don't
Beach...
do it with Jeff Van Gundy, by the way. That never worked.
No.
It never worked again. Jeff Van Gundy never got the game. Thank you, Billy. You're so right. Jeff Van Gundy, he looks like the Queen of Hearts. There's no disputing it. He's an all-time number one seed, but Jeff Van Gundy never understood it. In fact, Billy, if you have anywhere, if you can get all the Jeff Van Gundys, I think he might be one of my favorite categories. I'd like to just go through the Jeff Van Gundys with you. But before you get out of here, because this week has been crazy, it is something that you missed, yes or no, ESPN and Radio Row, because last year at the time, you were in the center of everything. You were palling around with Derrick Henry. You were bringing pastelitos to people. The Super Bowl was in Miami. You were on Radio Row.
We had James Wilder, I think.
You look really
Kenny Chesney.
Deontay Wilder.
Wilder.
Yeah. Did I go? James Wilder's an old running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know what happened. That's going to start
happening around here. Yes, but you had fun. Do you miss ESPN and Radio Row? There it is, Super Bowl week.
And my mom's dead.
Aqua?
Oh, my God.
What happened? Stugotz here. In every relationship, there's a short list of forgivable offenses, but missing the most romantic day of the year isn't one of them. Valentine's is here, so don't wait. Head to 1-800-Flowers.com today. Right now, 1-800-Flowers has a last-minute offer for listeners of this show. Get 24 multicolored roses for just $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for $10 more. It's an unbelievable offer from 1-800-Flowers, 24 multicolored roses for just $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more. Whether it's a full spectrum of multicolored roses or timeless red roses, you can't go wrong with a bouquet from 1-800-Flowers. All roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak, cared for every step of the way, and shipped fresh to ensure lasting beauty. Order now and get 24 multicolored roses for $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more. Bouquets are selling fast, so you have to take care of this today. Do it right now. To order 24 multicolored roses for $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more, it's simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon, and enter code DANPOD. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code DANPOD, D-A-N-P-O-D. Hurry, the offer expires Wednesday.
So, Billy, are you beginning to regret your decision to be on the pirate ship this month as we're all floating around here and things today have been particularly disastrous? We let the engineer, the one guy holding the whole thing up, take the day off after 3 weeks. Yeah, Bob's gone.
Yeah,
Bob was given the day off, and the whole thing collapsed. And now we're just calling you on the phone, and you're getting to watch First Take, and we're getting basically a Mystery Science Theater view of Billy watching First Take for the first time in 6 years. And so do you miss ESPN already? Do you miss First Take? Do you miss the Super Bowl week?
Well, I'm glad that you had me on. Thank you for having me on. But I'm not going to lie. It's kind of interrupted my First Take. I had to put it on mute. I have no idea what Jared Allen's talking about right now. I don't know who he's picked. You know, I have a fear about this Bob. Is it possible that Bob, when he left, just unplugged something and he's like, you know what? They're going to give me the day off, but if they figure this out without me, then they're going to realize maybe they don't need me. So let me just unplug some things, maybe unplug this yellow wire into the red outlet and the red into the yellow. And he comes in tomorrow and he's the big savior that fixes everything.
It'd be smart.
Mike has him on Forbes again.
It'd be smart. Well, I'm going to put him on Forbes personally. I've been writing the checks. It's not on the checks. He's not Bob. He's Robert on the checks. So, Billy, when you're watching First Take, when you're missing the Super Bowl, how are we going to recreate, as a producer of this show, the Stugotz barfed through question, what's the single most important thing? I think it's the only part of Super Bowl week we need to do. What's the single most important thing the Bucs have to do to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? But if we're not going to have any guests, it's the only thing we need for it to feel like Super Bowl week around here. I don't think we literally need anything else, but that requires guests. It requires a working phone line. It requires us not to be kicked out of the entire sports mainstream media.
I mean, maybe tomorrow, Billy, we could just litter the show with a bunch of old school Radio Row guests, and perhaps we'll just ask them that question. You know, Mike Golick, Gil Brandt.
If the internet works, we just go through one after the other and ask that question again and again and again and nothing else, and get out and have some sound from old, because how else are we going to do this? We are totally outside the grid right now. This does not feel like Super Bowl week around here. I can't complain about not being a part of a Super Bowl week, and furthermore, that's my go-to device. If I don't have that, what do? I miss the Super Bowl all of a sudden. I'm sitting here lamenting, no, give me the content of Gil Brandt giving his opinion on what happened to the Cowboys this year.
And I'm missing, it's all going down here, Dan, at Radio Row.
That's right, just slapping people on the back, giving them a pastelito, selling some 1-800-Flowers. You missed the whole thing.
I got a prediction from Saquon Barkley last year.
That's right. So, Billy, what do you miss the most? What can we recreate tomorrow to make it feel like Super Bowl week around here? To make it feel more like what First Take is going to feel like tomorrow?
Well, the first thing that we haven't done that we do every year on Super Bowl week that kind of kicks off the week, we haven't had a certain someone come on and give his prediction and maybe play some music for us.
Fake Howard Cosell.
By phone? He's going to do it by phone. Kenny G we're going to ask him to hold a phone up and play the.
Well, that's how he's always done it.
Mixed up there.
A phone up to our phone and through our tin cans and walkie-talkies.
It would have been nice to see him over Zoom.
Billy.
Well, Bob's back tomorrow. He's just going to fix the plugs that he unplugged. So everything will be fine, guys.
Tomorrow is going to be worse than today because at least the lights are working and we're still putting out a podcast. They're supposed to.
Generator. What if you
That'd
go to
be great.
Costco and buy a generator?
Billy, we don't have a printer.
Yeah. A podcast would be a very soothing experience with a constant hum of a generator going on in the back.
Billy, do you have in front of you somewhere that Jeff Van Gundy looks like? Does your computer, this is not the best way to do this. Usually there'd be a production meeting or at least a production meeting in one of the commercials. Billy would scramble, not listen to the show, would find that Jeff Van Gundy looks like because I'd requested it 3 minutes earlier. But in the moment, he is on the phone with us doing the radio show, just speaking into his phone. So I don't know if you've had time to look at your computer and find that Jeff Van Gundy looks like. Have you?
I have, Dan. There's 21 of them. Do you really want to read 21 of them?
I think I want you to read them. Do I not? Because what are you going to do? Text them to me? Am I going to? Our internet's not working.
He can take a picture of it and text it to you. Yeah.
You want to take a picture of it and have me read them? Because I could read some Jeff Van Gundy. You can filibuster by just telling people what's in the March Sadness tournament this year, or what you're excited about, because I'm sure we've got more than 64 great ones, right?
Ooh, yes, Dan. This year, the March Sadness tournament is going to be looks like. So we're gonna have those, and then there's going to be NIT that also looks like, and we're going to have those. And in total, when you combine the 64 or 68, really, it's 68 because of the playing games plus the 32, we're going to have 100. 100 looks like in contention for 2 titles.
Have you decided the voice? Who's the voice yet? Now we can't use any of the Rinaldis, any of the Bob Lees. You guys have gone through
we can use Rinaldi. Yeah.
Oh, we can use Rinaldi. That's right.
Yeah.
Right now, the boss is Goat Piss Mike. So
I love Goat Piss Mike.
Someone better than that.
That's a great idea.
That would really be great. Yes.
Go Piss Mike as the voice of March Sadness.
Oh, perfect.
You are brilliant.
Yes.
That's a great idea.
Amazing.
He's hired.
Amazing.
There's nobody better.
Really?
Well, I don't know if we can afford him.
That's the best we can do? Goat Piss Mike?
That is the best we can do. He's got a great voice. I'm telling you. The guy could do voice acting.
He's going to be our voiceover guy.
Yes.
Goat Piss Mike.
I love it.
We're a pirate ship, man.
All right.
With no internet.
Billy, do you want to read some of these Jeff Van Gundys, or do you want me to?
No, I can read them. I'm a good reader.
All right. So are you ready to do 21 of them?
Yeah, let's not say exactly 21 just in case I miscounted, but in the 21 ballpark.
All right. So
Let me know.
Are you guys in agreement with me that, well, first of all, are you in agreement with Billy that Jeff Van Gundy gets the looks like game less than anyone who's ever been on our show.
100%, yes.
Cosign.
And he doesn't understand why it's funny, and it's because he doesn't think he looks like these things that Billy is about to read. His brother does. His brother gets it, but this goes right by the head of Jeff Van Gundy. He doesn't understand what we're doing. He doesn't think anything looks like what we say it looks like. So go ahead. What do you have here, Billy?
All right. Jeff Van Gundy looks like your uncle's ghost.
Your white uncle's ghost.
Ready?
Yep.
For another one?
Yeah.
All right. Jeff Van Gundy looks like the senior senator who has spent his career building towards the passing of a single signature bill, only to have it undermined by the young, charismatic newcomer, Field Yates.
Keep going.
All right. Jeff Van Gundy looks like the Queen of Hearts. We know that one. Yeah. Jeff Van Gundy looks like the nuclear expert kidnapped and forced to help the villain in a Steven Seagal on-demand movie.
It's been fun as no movies have been made to just sort of scan and find just a batch of Seagal movies where you could see his face inflate over the years. I recognize it because it's like a mirror. Go ahead, Billy.
All right. Jeff Van Gundy looks like the nervous scientist who helps develop a chemical weapon for a Russian spy network, then is betrayed when he finishes it and slowly whispers to 007 as he's dying, "Get out of Tangier before it's too late." That's from remember when we did
so good.
Yes.
So
maybe we
good.
should read some of these to Adnan. Maybe that's the next incarnation of it because Adnan is a former ESPN employee, but that would welcome in Adnan past security, so we've got to take that under consideration. What else you got?
Jeff Van Gundy looks like the movie villain's put upon lackey who becomes more and more aghast at the evil plans finally standing up to the movie's
Is someone dying in your?
Yeah, what is happening?
Is your dog okay?
Is there a dog?
Is someone
That's
dying?
my dog, yeah. I didn't know if you could hear that or not. I was a little concerned about
Well, your
that.
confidence went to hell in the read because you were feeling insecure.
Sounds worse than Cody.
And Finney.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I think she wants a treat. You want me to handle that?
You're going to reward that behavior by giving her a treat? That's
the worst thing you can do.
She's 14. What do you just, die a miserable death? That's sad.
Sure,
Jeff
go
Van
ahead.
Gundy looks like an evil scientist and competent assistant who always unwittingly spoils the scientist's evil schemes. Notice I moved away from the one I couldn't read.
Yeah. How do you
Jeff
play?
Van Gundy looks like a spelling bee official.
That's a good one.
It does. It's important to go from the long ones to the short ones.
How about this? Jeff Van Gundy looks like a nervous speaker who has multiple errors in his PowerPoint presentation.
He looks like the Eagles coach. Isn't that what the Eagles coach sounded like? Like he sounded like he realized as he was talking, I'm an imposter and everyone can see it.
Ooh, I emailed that sound today. If the internet works, it's somewhere. What happens to emails when the internet doesn't work? Do they just live out there? Are they just floating out there until Bob plugs the things
Well,
back
what's
in
some
and then
other
you get
sound? What's some other sound you felt like we should have gotten to today? Because I haven't had access to your sound choices. What was the stuff you were excited about?
There's
today?
internet on your phone,
Great idea. You know what? I'm going to play it on my computer through my phone, and you can hear the sound. How about that? What's that
Excellent.
going to sound like?
So, Mike, he wasn't able to send you any of the sound today that he had?
No internet, Dan.
I mean, I have it on my phone, so I was able to see it. Bill.
You want me to play some clips here? Just tell me which
Yeah,
one.
let's
All right,
go as low budget as we could possibly do it. Let's
you
just
get it
I'm
off
gonna-
your phone.
I'm going to call Ron McGill, too, while
All
you do that.
all right, go ahead. Ron McGill will be part of our post-game show. Or no, I'm sorry, I got the times confused. Ron McGill will be before this. Very good. Let's keep it moving.
All right. So, what do we want to play here? Do
What's
we
this
want to
up?
play the woman that was arguing with LeBron? Do we want to play Nick Sirianni? Do we want to play some Gronk sound? Or do we want to play a 3-minute intro to the PFPI Gala?
Go ahead and do
Gronk, some
do,
Gronk.
No, do LeBron. Do LeBron first. We haven't played any of that sound.
All right. Hold on a second. Ready? Here we go. Tell me if you can hear this.
Just got kicked out of the game for talking shit to LeBron James. For talking shit to my husband. This is such... Listen, let me tell you. LeBron James looked at my husband during the game and cussed him out. And I stood up and I go, don't talk to my husband. Talk to my husband one more time and I will you up. And he started fighting with me. He goes, shut your mouth, dumb. And I go, you shut your mouth.
All right, very good. Billy, give us all your thoughts there. It wasn't a great listen, but you can tell us what you thought as you viewed that.
Oh, did you hear that? How was the quality?
I could hear it, yeah.
Yeah, we heard it.
It was pretty
good.
bad, but just give us your thoughts on that story.
It was not the best. Maybe let's not yell at each other. Not the nicest thing. LeBron, though, I mean, honestly, you're going to get someone kicked out in an audience of like 50 people. What's that about?
Well, he said he didn't want her kicked out. That's what he alleged.
I mean, that's what he has to say, though. He wanted them kicked out.
Is he going to get any?
If you don't want him kicked out, you could say, no, she can stay. Let's be real. LeBron is running what's going on there. They didn't just decide we're going to kick this person out. Come on, Dan, come on.
So
I wonder when they're going to get to this on First Take.
Okay, they will get to it at some
they're
point.
going to spend an hour.
What's the rest of the sound you have? Go ahead and play some more sound, and let's just go through Billy's takes through his phone. What's the next sound you have?
Here we go. Gronk, remember him? Hold on 1 second. Yesterday was media day, kind of, but on Zoom. So here's one of the things that Gronk said.
What do you remember about those virtual workouts the first time with Coach?
Oh, man. I tricked them. I tricked them a few times because I would bring my shirt out, and then I would bring another shirt out. So when I'm running the sprints, I would film myself like 15 times for that session, that workout session. But I would run it in a couple different shirts because you only had to send in like 2 or 3 reps. So then when the next time came, I didn't have to film myself because I already filmed myself running in a different shirt every time on that one day. And he hasn't had a clue to this day that I was tricking him about half the time.
That got to the Super Bowl outsmarting his own coaches.
I can't believe that's still playing in Super Bowl.
It is so great. It is so great, Billy, that Gronk tricked his coaches by just changing shirts so he didn't have to run sprints. He's like, bleep it. I've had a bunch of surgeries. I came out of retirement because I'm a 6'7" polar bear that can always be open if you just throw the ball totally in my hands. I'll never not be open. So I'll come out this season for Tom and just block for him. I'm the greatest tight end ever. That's fine. I'll just roam around here and block. And every once in a while, I'll break somebody's season with a 1-yard catch for 29 yards.
Do you
so
think
good.
he actually tricked his coaches, or Arians was like, what are we gonna do? What am I gonna do? Put him in timeout? Like, just whatever. Who cares? Gronk changing his shirt, because I wouldn't be surprised if Gronk is changing his shirt at the beginning of every clip that he sent in, right? Where he's taking off the previous shirt. He's like, all right, now Tuesday.
He's sending 10. He's sending
Tuesday now.
He's sending 10 clips, all of them in a different shirt, all of them one sprint, a poorly edited video. One more, Billy, before we get to Ron McGill here.
Ooh, wow. Decisions. Okay, here's Patrick Mahomes on what him and Travis Kelce's spirit animal would be.
Man, spirit animal nickname. I would like to be like a wolf. I feel like a wolf, kind of running around with my pack and being able to be a leader and someone that continues to attack and continues to lead as much as possible.
What about Travis Kelce? What do you think his is?
Travis, man, it's got to be something funny. I think he'd be like a giraffe. You know, he's kind of just out there grazing around the field, trying to make something happen. You know, find his different things that he can run around and do stuff with, and he's always a good time.
Okay.
Travis, man.
Not great sound.
Okay, not great, Billy.
You know what? We'll cut out that last one and just toss Ron McGill.
Well, I think Billy was trying to do that headed into Ron McGill, little animal, you know.
Yeah,
right.
Synergy.
Yeah.
Did I use that right?
I got it, Bill.
I think so.
Yeah.
We did it, though.
Right.
No, it would have been good to have a meeting and not called you on a phone line and done this live.
But Billy, just so Dan and Mike know, I mean, you chose that over Kendrick Perkins talking about James Harden going to strip clubs every night during the NBA Finals.
I have that.
No, but Billy, that's not useful to me now. You instead threw us a giraffe and just useless sound. I'm here for doing this way where you get to analyze your own sound. But what kind of bad judgment is that? That sound immediately made me again not miss Super Bowl week. Like, hey, let's ask the quarterback what kind of spirit animal he would be. And also, what would his tight end be? And he's wacky. Quarterback says a giraffe.
A giraffe, yeah.
Okay, I don't miss you or Super Bowl week anymore. You get out of here. We overplayed our hand with you.
I love
we
you,
tried
Bill.
to go about 13 minutes longer with you than we needed to. We had a hot streak with Cote and you, and then at the end we get it botched. So here's Ron McGill, and we don't have any shipping container here to talk to Ron McGill, but there were a number of things that I wanted to ask him today, beginning with there was a whale found in the Everglades, and I didn't understand. I thought I was being fooled by the internet. I don't understand what it is that I just saw. So please, Ron, explain to me what kind of phenomenon this was this week. Where was this common knowledge somehow in your world that there were damn whales in the Everglades?
Well, a whale can get into the Everglades because, remember, the Everglades empties out into the ocean. This is a problem that we're having with a lot of the ocean areas where a lot of this water is just emptying out with all these pollutants from the fertilizers and such. So since the water can empty out, something can certainly swim up and get in. That's where you get the brackish water. That's where you have things like crocodiles and animals that live in partly salt, partly fresh water. That's where the waters come together. So a whale, theoretically, sure, can go up and get up into the Everglades area, but he wouldn't be able to go very far because there's not deep enough areas there. It could become stranded very easily.
Ron, I recently went to the zoo. Had a wonderful time, by the way. I've noticed that you have a lot of massive iguanas that are basically part of the attractions at this point because they're all sorts of neon orange. It's really cool to see. I was wondering, what's the most invasive pain-in-the-ass animal that is always giving you fits over at the zoo?
Well, it pretty much is iguanas. Because iguanas, what they do is not only do they just leave their poop everywhere in these massive piles, but they also are compromising the exhibit areas because they make these tunnels into the side of the walls that collapse the walls, and the exhibits kind of collapse down into the moats. So that's a real pain in the butt. Plus, every day you've got some patron going, "Oh my God, what if your big lizard's got out? You got to come over here." We got people calling up at the front, like a 911 call. "Oh my God, there's an animal out! It's poisonous! It's going to kill me!" It's just a big old iguana, and people are panicking, especially the tourists who've never been down here before and don't realize that these things are now part of our natural environment. So they're just a pain in the butt, just keeping up with them. They'll go in, they'll actually take other animals' foods. The gorillas, I've seen these gorillas, 400-plus pound gorillas, eating their food, and an iguana walks up, this big male, starts bobbing us up and down, and the gorilla backs off, and the iguana takes his lettuce or his apple. I mean, give me a break. They can be a real pain in the neck.
The weather's going to dip down to 40 degrees down here, so
many
of those iguanas may start falling out of trees. What's your experience with this phenomenon? Do you have any things in place for what's coming up here?
Before you answer that, though, Ron, Pat Riley was mortified. Pat Riley, godfather of the Heat, because he did not know this about iguanas, about South Florida as a California guy. So when I say godfather of the Heat, I'm talking about also the temperature, because he buried a bunch of stiff iguanas were in his backyard, all of them stiff in his backyard, and he buried them, and in burying them, he likely killed them because they were not dead. They just react that way to the cold.
Right. A lot of them some of them may have been dead. I mean, it depends on the size. I mean, the cold does kill some of them, but a great deal of them look like they're dead. They turn slate gray. Their eyes are sunken in their heads. They look like they're dead. What would be really cool is if he buried them, and all of a sudden he starts seeing the dirt move, and they start coming out of the dirt like a Walking Dead type thing. How cool would that be? He'd probably freak out and go, "Oh, my God, they're coming back from the dead." How cool would that be? Because that very possibly could happen.
Ron, it was very cool seeing. There were so many great videos that people took and shared on social media of their animals playing in the snow. And I'm wondering, why do animals love the snow so much, Ron? Because there are crazy storms going on throughout the Northeast and Midwest. And I've seen dogs and pandas and everyone enjoying the snow. Why is that?
Well, look at kids. Look at kids, Stugotz. Why do kids enjoy the snow? It's just a matter of playing and jumping and sliding. It's this wonderful energy that you're able to get out. I remember being a kid up in New York, growing up in New York City. I'd go out in shorts and a T-shirt when it was snowing out to throw a football because I just didn't feel the cold. Kids and a lot of animals don't feel the cold. You don't see, tropical animals. You're never going to see a snake in the snow. You're never going to see any kind of reptile in the snow. Elephants may look like they're enjoying the snow. They don't enjoy the snow because elephants are very sensitive to the cold. But as far as pandas and, dogs and cats, good layers of fur on them, they enjoy the snow the same way that kids enjoy the snow. It's a place to play and be carefree and slide around and do all kinds of goofy stuff.
An answer to my question, do you have a protocol in place for when iguanas start falling out of trees this week?
Yes, we do. Well, unfortunately, generally speaking, the iguanas here have gotten very intelligent to where they don't go up in trees, which is why they're always surviving. These iguanas now are burrowing themselves into different burrows where they can stay warm enough to survive the cold. And that's the adaptation that's happening to a lot of iguanas now. Whereas, 10 years ago when the first cold streaks came out and the first generation of iguanas were, all over the place, they went up in the trees because that is their initial natural instinct to go up into the trees to stay away from predators. Well, the ones that couldn't find trees, they made little holes in the ground. They're the ones that survived. So what happened? When they reproduced, that gene was passed on to that next generation, and now the majority of those go into holes instead of going up into trees. The ones that go into trees are the ones that are going to die. The ones that go into holes are the ones that are going to survive and eventually adjust to where you're going to be getting more and more of them further north in the state. I predict that within 5 years, you're going to have iguanas up in the Panhandle, maybe even up in Georgia.
I want to go back for a second to something that Ron was talking about, a couple of different things. I want to go back to this whale in the Everglades in a second as well. But you mentioned iguanas might be the greatest annoyance. And when I was at the zoo with you recently here, when we met Dan Le Batard, the officially named hippo at the zoo that is now Dan Le Batard, I'd like to hear more about that hippo's life and how that hippo's life has changed and how those wax hippos named Dan Le Batard are selling. But before we get to that, didn't you tell me that cats were more of an annoyance than iguanas that day we were there?
Well, cats are by far the most dangerous animals for us. Here at the zoo. First of all, of course, they can predate on the smaller birds, but more importantly, they can also carry a disease called toxoplasmosis, which is deadly to things like kangaroos, any of the macropods. It can also be very dangerous to other cats. They go into different areas. They leave their feces behind. That's where the toxoplasmosis is found, and it can become deadly to several groups of animals here at the zoo. So, yes, cats. Not to mention, things like mange and parasites, fleas, ticks, and such like that. They are conduits for bringing that into the collection, which we try to protect with every means that we have. But we can't stop these cats that can jump over 8-foot fences and dig under little holes and, find their way into all kinds of things. So, yes, feral cats are the number one problem as far as non-native animals go in the zoo. They're just not considered an invasive species because they're a domesticated animal.
But didn't they eradicate at least one species from your zoo where you simply can't?
Yes, they did. They did. They eradicated kangaroos from the zoo. That's why we don't have kangaroos here at the zoo. Our kangaroo herd was infected with toxoplasmosis brought in by cats. It was deadly to those kangaroos, and we felt that we can no longer have kangaroos because we cannot subject them to that type of exposure. Unless there's a way we can come up that we can guarantee that no cats can get in, that they can not transmit that toxo, unfortunately, we're not going to have kangaroos or wallabies or those types of marsupials in the zoo again.
Did you learn that then with those deaths? Because that seems, I don't know whether that was a mistake, an oversight, if there's any way to keep cats off the premises.
We're trying, Dan. We try everything we can, building extended moats, building high fences. Cats are unbelievable physical, machines as far as their abilities to jump, to dig, to get under areas. They're so, they're like gymnastics. They're gymnasts of the animal world. They can get almost anywhere they want. So we're working on it because we would love to bring kangaroos back, but we can't do that unless we can guarantee we can keep the cats out. And we're trying everything we can. We've certainly reduced the population significantly by putting up extra fences, extra wiring, and things like that. But I still see one every now and then. And it only takes one.
Yeah. How is Dan Le Batard the hippo doing? Any news on the Dan Le Batard the hippo front that we can share with the audience?
I got to tell you something. Dan Le Batard the hippo is doing magnificently well. As you may remember, he was born with a little bit of a palate problem, a congenital palate problem. He had to have some surgery, had some plastic surgery, had some of the best plastic surgeons come in there and fix that palate problem. He still has a little bit of the problem where the food kind of goes up into his nasal passages. But, man, he is thriving. He is eating like crazy. He loves the attention. People have come by and asked, where is Dan Le Batard the hippo? So when we got him over to the hippo, you see people taking pictures, and I see them taking selfies with Dan Le Batard behind them, and Dan's loving the attention. I mean, he's feeling like, well, he is. He is the most recognized celebrity status pygmy hippo on the face of the planet.
Look at that. All right, so if people want to support Dan Le Batard the hippo and Dan Le Batard the hippo's causes, Ron, because they're all about this hippo at the zoo that is officially named Dan Le Batard, introduced to others as Dan Le Batard. Our audience has been kind of amazing with Ron McGill and this endowment. We've been joking about the general size of Ron McGill's endowment and how it keeps growing here on the air, baby. But
it has been unbelievable.
What is the recent count? What can you tell the audience in terms of how it has supported the animals and you during this time?
I will tell you that the recent count is just from Dan Le Batard listeners alone over the past 2 weeks, we are approaching $40,000 plus. And this is from I think it's 32 different states already. 32 different states in the country. Donations ranging from $5. One person donated $10,000, Dan. I was like beside myself. And then people doing things, having their companies match the donations. I mean, just incredibly generous people. I mean, everybody from, blue-collar workers to doctors and dentists. I mean, I'm just amazed at the diversity, the generosity, and like I say, they're all each going to get a personal letter from me, but they need to know that money is going to be protecting animals in the wild for generations to come.
You're welcome.
Well, where do they go though? Instead of taking the victory lap, Stugotz, how about telling them? Because he keeps forgetting this. Ron is very bad at business matters about money. He's kind of naive, and so you keep forgetting to tell people where to go.
Well,
Ron.
let me tell the audience, because they're listening to a podcast, and every time Ron McGill joins us, we put a link directly in that podcast description directly to Ron's sizable endowment.
Okay, and we love his sizable endowment around here, and we will not have anyone speak ill of his sizable endowment. It is something around here that we will embrace.
Okay, I'm getting it, Dan.
As a show. So, Billy, what just happened? We're going to talk to Ron for a second because Billy has fallen out of the sky. But, Billy, what just happened with you and Mike and the guest line?
Well, Billy called the guest line just now, and Woody called me out on it because I answered the guest line, ESPN radio guest line. Just muscle memory, I guess. We're not ESPN radio anymore. I could just pick it up and say, phone
line, yes.
Just say hello.
Billy, yes, or hello, like normal people do. Billy, what do you have for Ron McGill?
Hey, Ron, it's Billy. I was reading that Southwest Airlines recently joined a bunch of other airlines in banning emotional support animals because they had things like peacocks, cats, pigs, miniature horses, comfort turkeys, like that on airplanes, but they're still allowing service dogs. So what makes dogs more of service or more qualified to be service animals than peacocks or cats or pigs?
Okay. It's not. There's a difference between a service animal and an emotional support animal. If it's an emotional support dog, it's not getting on the plane either. It has to be a certified service animal. Service animal is an animal that will alert if someone's about to have a diabetic seizure. Will alert, if something physical, if they're going to have an epileptic seizure. These are dogs that provide that service or guide a person, like leading a blind person. So that's a dog that is providing a service. The problem with these other people with emotional support animals is they abuse that, okay? People going on the flipping plane with a duck in their hand, they go, oh, no, it makes me emotionally stable to have my duck with me, and then the duck is pooping all over the place. There's no control. I don't blame these airlines because a lot of people made it bad for the real people that really need the emotional support animals. When you start walking on with a goat on your plane, you can't do that, okay? This is not some third world country. People have to take into consideration the sanitary conditions for other passengers on the plane. That's the bottom line. So that's the difference. A service dog provides a service. It's not something you hold in your lap and says, oh, it just makes me calm. It makes me feel better. No, that doesn't work.
Controversial statements from Ron McGill. Do not bring a duck. You are outraged. Do not bring a duck on the airline as your comfort animal.
Thank you.
Roy, you're on with Ron McGill. Go ahead, Roy. What do you have? I'm going out to him like he's a caller because he's calling in on the phone line. Roy is on the phone line, no longer sponsored by ESPN. Roy, what do you have for Ron McGill? Super Bowl week.
Ron, a elderly hiker startled a moose on a trail and ended up getting hurt by the moose. If that's unavoidable, what's a good way to calm down a moose and have the moose go away?
If you're going to get hit by the moose, you got to play dead. You got to curl up. You got to protect the back of your head and just play dead because you're not going to outrun the moose. Now, if you see the moose coming at you, get behind a tree. Just keep on. It's going to look like a comedy of errors, but you just got to keep that tree between you and the moose. And if a moose is coming at you, it's either a cow defending her calves, and she's just going to stomp on you. But if it's a bull that's in rut, because what happens is when they come in the breeding season, guys, and their antlers are out, they just go nuts. The females make the males stupid at that time, and they will just go after anything that they think might be a threat to them being able to get to a female. So, if that's the case, you could be in bad shape. They're beyond beside themselves. It's not one of those things where you're going to put up your hand and go, hey, bear. No, that's not going to work. If a moose is coming at you, putting up your hands in the air and saying, hey, bear, is just going to inevitably end up with you getting gored.
Dominique, pause.
Mary Sue Retton.
Oh, my.
Whittingham, can you put it on the poll, please, at Batard Show? Did you know that the way to get away from a moose was just to hide behind a tree? At Batard Show. I want to update the polls before we get out of here, Chris. We haven't done it in a long time, and I'd like to do that.
It is Super Bowl week, and I do have a question for Ron
Hold
McGill.
on a second. I've got more animal questions. Just one more animal question. The whale in the Everglades, did they not discover that was a new species of whale? How often is that discovered? Aren't they writing about it as if it's a new species of whale, Ron?
I have not heard the specifics on it. It could very well be. I doubt it. It might be a subspecies. It might be some animal that's kind of evolved to do something differently than the species it's evolved from. But I'll have to wait for the final stuff to come out, because to say it's a new species of whale, a new species, wow, that's a big stretch. When you have a megavertebrate that large to discover a new species, even though the ocean is huge and we know a lot less about the ocean, like I said, than we know about the moon, I still would be very surprised for a new species of whale.
All right, Ron, what's the single most important thing the Bucks need to do to beat the East?
What the heck was that?
What do you mean?
Just answer the question.
What's the single most important thing the Bucks need to do to...
Well, you know what? I think Stugotz blew his own line. I think he put the joke too far in the end instead of right in the middle. I think you were supposed to get sick in the middle. So this doesn't feel like Super Bowl week, and this is the latest example. Let's finish off with a better closing question for Ron McGill, please.
Hi, Ron. It's good to talk to you. I had a question. Is it true that the male billy goat attracts females by urinating on its own face?
It's true. I missed you, man. You guys have a great week.